Oh, hello! Welcome to Profoundish, and happy Valentine's Day. I'm gonna be honest with you, you kind of caught Weston and I at a bad time. We were just about to head out on a date. Oh, wait! You can join us. We're gonna take some relationship quizzes, we're gonna get pretty introspective, and maybe a little romantic, too. Alright, you're listening to Profoundish. Weston, you look absolutely beautiful tonight.
Oh, thank you. Aren't you just charming?
Where did you... are those new earrings?
Oh, these old things? No, they were hand-me-downs from my mom.
Oh, that's so sweet. So they must really mean a lot to you.
They meant a lot to my mom. I stole them.
Oh,
She'll never see
okay.
them again. I like your silk handkerchief you've got in your pocket.
thank you so much. This was my dad's.
Did you steal it as well?
I did. It's like we're meant to be together.
It's like two thieves in a pod.
Two thieves in a pod. I like
that sounds like a different podcast. It's kind of like your Two Peas podcast that you do, but instead it's like two rogues, like in a fantasy setting.
Actually, I'm interested in that. That actually sounds pretty interesting to me. I'd listen to that. I was just thinking it could be like the antithesis to ours. Yeah, like they could be to Steph and I again, but it's always like just 5 bad things we've done every week or something.
What's your 5 favorite heists you've ever committed? Okay.
Exactly.
The next week, what's your 5 favorite burglaries you've ever committed?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
just all the same thing.
I love it. Oh, goodness. Well, you really do look like really wonderful tonight. Do you know what you're going to order on the menu yet?
I think I'm going to have the pasta and mushrooms and chicken, that combination. I don't know if it's on the menu. I'm just going to ask the waiter, do you have pasta? Do you have mushrooms? Do you have chicken? Can you put it in a broth and serve it to me?
That sounds... I think you should ask. I think that sounds good. I think I'm
that's
going to
what I'm
do... I think I'm just going to do... I know it's just kind of... Ooh, wait a second. No, I'm not going to do that. I saw the lasagna, but now I'm looking at... There's this nice shrimp and mushroom dish that looks really good.
Oh, you're doing mushrooms as well? We'll both do mushrooms.
I'm doing mushrooms
we'll have so
as
many
well.
mushrooms.
We'll have so many... We should just order... We can just order a bowl of mushrooms as well. Ooh, by the way, totally random question. Do you like fried mushrooms?
I was just thinking about fried mushrooms, actually, because I was going to say, did you know Dairy Queen sells fried mushrooms?
They do?
Or at least the one where I go does.
Well, I love fried mushrooms. Like, dip that in ranch. Mmm.
Ranch, or, I mean, you can put ranch on anything, honestly, but just about any dipping sauce. Yeah, ranch, fried mushrooms. That's a thing.
I don't know why I thought of this, but I just remember. So growing up in my original hometown, before the town that you and I grew up in.
Oh yeah.
This goes way back. I was like 6. 6 and 7 maybe. I remember being in. We had this small diner. We had one diner in the whole town, and it was called the Feed Bag. Is what it was called. And
that's a good name.
Yeah, I love that name. I don't think it's there anymore. It makes me sad, but anyway, years ago, my grandma actually used to manage the store. That was kind of a cool thing. But anyway, so we would eat there, and I remember they had this dish, and it was just it's just a hole in the wall diner. But all this dish was everything like they basically had on their menu fried. So it was like fried. It was like the fried plate. They had the fried mushrooms. They had the fried.
Fried French.
I think they had French fries. They had everything fried.
Fried
they had fried cauliflower.
Fried
they had
jalapenos.
It was mainly actually vegetables of some kind that they had
okra?
fried. Fried okra, I think, was one of them. Anyway, and it was just this huge plate of fried vegetables, and man, it was just so good. I just dipped it. Oh, and I remember there was something fishy too, because remember I had tartar sauce. It was my first time trying tartar sauce. It's some sort of fried fishy thing too. Anyway, it was just it looked like they just went to the back room, said, "Okay, what do we have? What scraps of? Okay, let's fry it and put it on the menu," and then that's what they did.
That sounds good to me. I love fried food.
No, me too. No complaints. I miss it a lot, very much. But that's a little different than what we're doing here tonight. You know, tonight we're in this really nice restaurant. What's the name of this restaurant again? This really nice, fancy Italian restaurant. What's it called? I can't remember the name as we walked in.
It's called the Goblet of Desire.
You know, I love the name Goblet. That's right.
Yes.
How could I forget the name Goblet of Desire?
Yes, it's
Isn't that a Harry Potter book?
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say it's vaguely Harry Potter themed.
That's how. That's right. Which explains why you drew the makeshift scar on your forehead.
Yeah, that's right. I had to actually, weird aside, this is just because Harry Potter was popular, not because I look remotely like Harry Potter. Harry Potter was popular, and I was a kid with glasses, and I always had like family members that were like, "Oh my gosh, you look like Harry Potter." I'm like, I'm a freaking redhead. Like what? If anything, it'd be like Ron Weasley or something. But like, anyway,
yeah,
it's the glasses that Harry Potter was popular.
Makes complete sense. I get, maybe you get this for other things too. When you're a redhead, they will kind of just throw any, because there's like, you can name, there's only like 20 famous redheads, right? So like, you'll get one of those 20 and they'll go, man, you look a lot like, and I've gotten Shaun White, I've gotten like Carrot Top, the guy who plays Ron Weasley, right? None of these people look like me, but they have so few redheads to go off of that they just throw one out there.
I can't.
It's true.
Who's the? Who's the musician who's a redhead who's like more famous more recently?
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. I've been told I look like Ed Sheeran.
You look nothing like Ed Sheeran.
I look nothing like Ed Sheeran. I've been told I look like Ed Sheeran. I'm like, what?
Now,
I don't know what to say. I'm like, are you joking?
That's a strange one. The weirdest one I've ever gotten, I was at a Subway, believe it or not, and not the one that you're in charge of, but it was a different one. Anyway, I went in there, and it was one I usually don't go into, and I remember like it was two girls working, and I ordered my sandwich, and they were talking to each other, and they were kind of talking quietly, and I was minding my own business, just standing there as they were making their stuff. And then one of them kind of giggled and looked back up at me and said, "I'm sorry, but I got to say this. You look so much like Jim Carrey." Jim Carrey. And I didn't know what to say, so I think I just said something along the lines of like, thanks, I guess. I don't know.
You didn't look at her and say, "No, I don't."
I think honestly what I said was probably more along the lines of something like, I don't think I've ever heard that before, but thank you, I guess, or something like that, because I really have never heard that, or have ever heard it since.
He's not even a redhead.
He's not even a redhead. So I don't know if it's like maybe they saw me at the right angle. There's times where I'll see like somebody that I know and I've seen multiple times, but then I'll see them from like a side profile and I will think of somebody else sometimes. I've seen that. But also, you know me, I'm really bad at saying people look like people.
Yeah.
I've in our friend group, you included in this, we'll always say, "Oh, that looks like so and so," and the group, our friends will go, "Yeah, it does." Anytime I say it, like, "Oh, this looks like so and so," No,
I don't see it.
No, it's just so I have a bad gauge, I guess, for that. I don't know. Oh goodness. Well, I'm really excited to be here with you, and since it is Valentine's Day after all, I thought
that's
we could
right.
really
if we didn't make that clear, it is Valentine's Day,
and we're on a Valentine's Day date, and that's why you dressed up. In the Goblet of Desire. You got your little scar on your forehead. Are you going to order any wine or anything?
I am.
I'm buying.
I'm having a Pinot Noir.
Excuse me?
A Pinot Noir.
I don't know what that is.
It's a wine.
Clearly, you can tell I'm a beer guy. I don't know much about wine. When I heard noir, I just think of like a film noir.
Yeah, that's different. But it comes from the same concept because like noir is like, I'm going to be wrong about this because it's like French or something. Doesn't it just mean like black or something? Hang on. What does noir
I don't know.
mean?
I just think of the genre.
Yeah, noir is the French word for black. So in the film industry, like a noir is usually like really like dark and shadows and it's cast and it's like usually the topics are meant to be more like, again, for lack of a better word, dark. Like you think of the detective stories where someone's definitely going to die. Yeah. femme fatale is going to pull the wool over the detective's eyes. He's probably going to die too. Who knows? Like, you think noir films, they're dark. So that's why they're called noir, because they're black, and they decided to use the French word for black, noir. Pinot Noir, I don't know what Pinot means. Noir, it's black wine.
Oh, okay. Well, it's actually fitting that you just explained that to me, and I learned
it's like
something
black grape wine.
You saying it that way sounds really good. Black grape wine. But, you explaining things to me, you always have this little bit of knowledge tucked away in the back of your head, and you bring it out when you need to. And that's one reason why I'm happy to be here with you. I think one thing that some of our listeners may know of is that we do have a little bit of a relationship. We, you sometimes are referred to as Magic Man. Was it Magic Mama?
I am the Magic Mama.
Magic Mama, and I'm just and I'm just kind of dad. I don't really have I'm not Alex the dad. I'm just dad. And yeah, we've been on a lot of dates, a lot of virtual video game dates usually, but dates nonetheless. In fact, there's even a wiki article about it on our what's that website called? Is it wiki something?
Is it the wiki something?
Whatever. It's on yours. It's on your wiki for you, your fan wiki. And there's a whole section about us. So if you want to learn more about that, check that out. I'm assuming it's under Magic Man Mo.
It might, yeah. But it probably is.
But I thought while we're here at dinner tonight, we could have a little special time together and maybe do a little bit of a little relationship check-in. It's kind of I think it's good to communicate with each other, being in a relationship, and to make sure that we're on a similar page and make sure that we're not going down a path of destruction.
I'm on Wikitubia.
Like emotional destruction. Wikitubia.
Not that I'm not listening to you, but it was Wiki.
That's hilarious. I was literally just spilling my heart out to you, saying we need to. And you're like, Wikitubia.
Listen, I had 3 trains of thought. One of them was just listen to what you're saying, and I was going to respond to it. But the other 2 I needed to get to was Wikitubia, and then also I'm Magic Mama, but you could be Dad Cat.
Dad Cat, I like that.
Hey.
Next time we do a stream together, we'll force that one in there. I'll be Dad Cat.
Like I said, the third train of thought, you were being very vulnerable here for a moment. We've got this sort of long running relationship here on the internet and as friends, and
and I want to
forget what you said.
I'm sorry,
and I laughed. No. I was about to say I just forgot what the last thing you said was, because then I started laughing. But
that's okay. I was just saying that I think it'd be a nice time. It's a good time of the year to have a little relationship check-in, and communicate how we feel about each other to each other. And that's when I said to make sure we're not going down a path of destruction. Then as soon as I said that, that's you. Wikitubia.
Yeah, path of destruction. That's right.
By the way, quick aside. That reminds me of a very brief story. Very brief. I was with Steph and her, and this was early on in our relationship. So we were starting to say really sweet and sappy things, but we weren't saying the L word yet, right? So, but it was. I remember we were walking to a friend's house. We were walking from the parking lot to their apartment, and we're holding hands, and it was cold and it was dark outside, and I can't remember where we were exactly, but she looked at me and she said something so sweet, and it was something along the lines of, I've never been as happy as I am with you, or something like that.
Aww.
And then while she said that, remember this is early on, right, in our relationship,
right.
A really meaningful thing at that time, and I looked and said, "Hey, look, Alabama license plate." That's the next thing I said. There was a car, and I thought, why is there an Alabama license plate here? I clearly wasn't in the same headspace, and then I felt terrible because as soon as I got done saying that, I processed what she told me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So it was kind of a similar moment.
Yeah, I see how that with my Wikitubia comment. Yeah. That connects.
And now
that's
it's funny.
Classic though. That's so good.
I know. And now every time, if somebody's kind of half listening to the other one, the other person who's engaging more will say Alabama license plate, and then we immediately get caught back in the conversation again. That's kind of like a code word for us now. It's hilarious. But yeah, so I thought this would be a nice little relationship check-in. We can just enjoy our dinner, enjoy our drinks. You look so beautiful under the light here at the Goblet of Desire.
You didn't you didn't tell me what you were ordering to drink. I've got a Pinot. We talked about how noir is the French word for black.
Oh, you're right. I think I'm just going to get whatever I'm going to look at their bourbon menu and see what they have, and see if they have any aged bourbon. I think that sounds really good.
Gross.
You don't like bourbon? You like rum?
No, I do. I recently had I was out drinking with actually hilariously I was just drinking with some people or whatever, and they moved on with the night, and the bartender that I know was like, "Hey, I've got some like whiskeys and bourbons that I've never tried. You want to just try some bourbon with me?" Like, he just on him. So I was drinking with the bartender and had far too much whiskey one night. I make friends everywhere I go, and it's good to have friends with the bartender.
Well, yeah, no kidding. Whiskey can knock you out.
I know. I had a few too many. I'm like, dude, I gotta stop because I'm feeling the whiskey.
See, I will say, bourbon specifically is like if I were to go back to drinking liquor again, like at least more often, it would be bourbon again. I've always loved bourbon. It's especially in the wintertime. It's warm. It warms your tummy.
It does warm you up.
I don't like to, but I am the sipper, right? I if I'm going to be drinking a lot, I'd rather drink something else, I think. Especially if it's expensive, because I feel like I'm not really getting its full. I mean, it depends on what your definition of potential is, I guess. Right? I'll leave it at that with alcohol. But I really want to enjoy it more and have it last me a long time. Like if it's like an expensive bottle.
Oh yeah, for sure. If it's an expensive one, then you want to savor it because it's actually been made with like care, with like the intention of drinking it, not the intention of getting drunk on it. You know.
Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to ask them for that. But in the meantime, I brought these papers. I hope you don't mind. I know this isn't romantic.
It's the divorce papers.
But no. I swear it's not divorce papers.
I brought some papers.
I have 3 papers here, and they're each different quizzes. And I thought while we're waiting for our food, maybe we could maybe do these together. These are kind of quizzes to help us check in on each other in our relationship and see where we stand. We have one called the New Relationship Compatibility Quiz.
Okay.
This isn't a new relationship, so this one should be a breeze for us, right? If I were to guess.
I like tasks.
I know you do. And the next one is the Are We Meant to Be Together quiz. I'm a little nervous about this one because what if we finish this and we're not meant to be together? What do we do, right?
We'll cross that bridge when the troll gets out of the toll.
When the troll... I've never heard it that way. And then you have such a way with words. And then the third quiz I'm excited for, it's the Take a Relationship Quiz Together quiz. So this is a quiz we will have to agree on answers and kind of go through these different scenarios. So we'll do that last. I think we should start. Well, first of all, are you okay with doing these quizzes? I didn't even ask. I just kind of assumed.
I'm already drinking wine. I'm prepared for anything, baby.
You're prepared. Well, let's dig into ourselves, our relationship, you and me, Alex and Weston, Dad Cat, and Magic Mama.
Dad Cat.
All right.
I was thinking Dad Cat because of your name, Ducat. But I like Dad Cat.
Did I say Dad Cat? I meant to say Dad Cat.
I like, or at least I heard Dad Cat. And I was like,
that's kind of like
it.
That can be like your pet name for me, like, you know, like, Dad hey, cat. Honey, or whatever. I'm your little Dad Cat.
I like the idea, like when we get fan art made, obviously, clearly, I'm like I'm Magic Mama, so I'm this like little witch girl, and you're like the Dad Cat, so you're like the little black cat.
Actually, I kind of want that to be made. Pinata, thank you.
Pinata, once again, you have your task.
You have your task, please. You let us down last time. Don't do it again.
4 gold doubloons if you finish this quest.
All right, so I guess I'll read this. No, I got you a copy too. So here's your copy. So it says, this is a relationship compatibility quiz. It can help you figure out exactly where you are in your relationship. If you are confused about where you stand with your significant other, why not take this quiz and see how compatible you really are? This is really just a warm up for us because we're not confused. We're very happy.
I think I might be confused.
That explains a lot.
Who
but we'll
are
go
we?
into that.
What is this relationship? I don't know.
We'll answer these together. The first question is, How do you feel when you are around your partner? The options are: I feel scared and nervous that I will mess something up. I feel happy and confident. I feel confused about where my relationship is going, or I feel secure.
You know me, I'm just constantly a ball of nerves, concerned that I will just screw this up. I'm going to say just the wrong thing, and Dad Cat's going to be out my life forever.
Do you mean it?
No,
that's not true. I do want to say this. Just little behind the curtain. I actually really do see this as a fun way for Weston and I to like see just answer as like two longtime buddies. So I'm going to be we're going to be literally answering these as friends.
Yeah, right, right. Of course, just friends. For sure.
So this will be fun. Yeah, friends, just friends. Just friends,
just friends.
So in all reality,
just a couple of bros,
couple dudes, football, sports. So I think with you, the most I feel probably is, I don't know if secure is the right word.
Yeah, secure makes it feel like, I feel like that's like the sense of being protected by the other one, maybe?
Yeah.
Or at least that's kind of like what my mind is thinking.
Like I'm in a safe I do feel like I'm in a safe space, at least about this is going to sound like I do feel safe emotionally when we're together.
Yeah, that we can say whatever and we understand each other. But I feel like there's something about security where it's like it's a level of protection. Like one person's protecting the other. So for me, I would say I feel happy and confident. I don't feel like you're like protecting me. I'm not saying that that's good, bad, or the other. I'm just saying like that's not the emotional response. I'm like, I enjoy hanging out. I have a good time. So that's like the happy aspect. Yeah. And the confident is like we talk about our YouTube stuff. We talk about strategy. We talk about this podcast. Talk about. I feel pretty confident about what I'm doing when we kind of like shoot the breeze and like compare notes a little bit. So I feel like I'm in that space.
The happy, absolutely. Confidence makes a lot of sense too, because there's some conversations and relationships that I'll enter into, like conversationally, and feel like I can't really, I'm not sure how the waters are going to be in what I talk about or how I bring something up. With you, it's not like that. I just feel like I'm confident in what I say and how you'll react and stuff. So yeah, I definitely agree. I'm having my page. I mean, my paper is not refreshing.
Oh no! My paper turned just fine.
Your paper turned just fine. Okay.
Yep, I'm on the second page already. Do you need to? What's the paper equivalent of reloading a web page?
Do you need to reprint another page?
Yeah, do you need to reprint it? Did the ink get smeared?
Yeah. Excuse me, waitress. Do you have a printer here at the Goblet of Desire? Okay.
Why, yes, I do. Here, let me help you. I'll print you out a new.
If she had a voice like that, I'm leaving her a good tip.
That's the voice I have. I was born with it.
Yeah, I was going to say is she like 95? I was once your age.
73 years ago, I was a young, strapping 50-year-old grandma.
I knew you were going to say that. 73 years ago, I was just a wee lad of 61. All right, next question here. If someone asked you if you were in love with your partner, what would you say? Okay, so totally, with all of my heart, usually, or no.
Can we just take a second to break down that totally and with all my heart are two separate answers but sound exactly the same to me?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Like, that's the same thing, right?
I think the idea here is that with all my heart is much more, it's kind of romantic sounding, like with all my heart. And then totally like, totally, yeah. So like that one's maybe more of a serious answer.
What if totally is sarcastic? Like totally, yeah.
Totally
in love with. That's the silent cry for help.
So actually, yes,
are you
right.
in love?
That is
totally. It's like, oh God, get me out of here.
Right, you can see it in their eyes. They need out. So it depends on how we look at this. I'm not romantically in love with Weston, but I do
I'm
love
totally
Weston as a friend.
romantically in love with Weston. I love Weston. Weston's great.
If anyone loves Weston romantically, it's Weston. Okay, I know him enough to say that. But that being said, if we take this in a sense of like, I do love you as a friend, in which case we could play it that route, or if we want to play it romantically, then that would change our answer too. I don't know how you'd want to go about this because I don't know how this quiz is going to end.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
So
if we approach this as friends, that's where it kind of like changes the wording a little bit too, right? Because like if it's not that you can't respect your lover, but like as friends, it's like, well, yeah, I love my friends, I respect them, you know, that kind of thing. It's a different, which I feel like this is just explaining what everyone knows in their hearts. The way you feel about your friends is obviously different from the way you feel about your partner. But
right, but you still love them. Like if I were like to talk about and we're talking about you and me here, like
yeah,
you know, if I were to talk about Weston, yeah, I love Weston. Like if it was in a conversation, like I wouldn't say, yeah, I like Weston. You know, I think that has a different feel to it when you say it. Obviously, like at least that's. And then again, I'm much more open with my emotions than I'd say than you are. If I can be bold and say that.
I think I agree with that.
But that being said, if we take it kind of from, like I said, we're kind of doing this from a friendship approach. My answer would be here. It would be totally, not in the sarcastic way, but I think totally is the most accurate way of saying, I love Weston. He's one of my closest friends. He, you know, like totally, with all my heart. It's a little pushy. Like it's like, you know, because that sounds much more romantic. You can't sugarcoat that.
Yeah, maybe that's kind of the clingy level a little bit, where from a friendship level, like I kind of want to be hanging out with them 100% of the time. But I think you and I both cherish our independent time, doing our own thing. You know what I mean? So I could totally see that. The usually one would be kind of like, oh yeah, I like them, but they're sometimes on my nerves type situation. And I don't think. Especially not lately. I can't think of a time you were ever on my nerves. I can think of a time long, long ago, but we've talked about that before.
I was about to say, wait, what have I done recently? But I think, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I used to get on everybody's nerves at that age.
Right, when we were young and different people, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you go at the friendship angle, I would answer totally as well. Like, of course.
Okay, cool. Well,
like, there's no
glad.
rift there. There's no, I don't know.
No, I
don't even know.
It's I consider you one of my closest friends, and I value that friendship a lot. And because I wouldn't say that about every single friend that I have. I say I love every single friend that I have. There's some friends that I have that are more in between acquaintance and kind of friend level. You know, like you're definitely way past that. You know, we've been friends for a long time, so it just okay.
It's been like 7 months.
7 whole months, almost a whole pregnancy.
How long have we been doing Profoundish? It's been that length of time only.
Yeah, Weston didn't consider us friends until we started Profoundish.
Yes.
Until I was making something with him.
It's like, oh, wait a minute.
All right, question 3. Can you be honest and frank with your significant other? Then here are the 4 answers, I guess. It'd be, I never lie to my partner. I draw the line at white lies. I lie only when necessary, or I like to tell whoppers. It's just too fun.
Oh, man, I do like a good Whopper, though.
Man, you're talking Burger King, right?
Man, I don't know the last time I have had a Burger King Whopper. I don't know.
I'm
usually a value menu type orderer, or I'm a chicken sandwich type orderer. You know what I mean? I like chicken.
Yes.
I like chicken a lot. So like I'm either ordering if I'm ordering burgers, it's like value menu burgers. I don't know what the Burger King value menu would be, but I haven't been to Burger King in a minute. I used to go quite a bit actually, but not so much anymore.
They have surprisingly good nuggets. I used to eat their nuggets a lot.
Especially when they had their frickin' back in the day when it was like 10 for $1.50. Remember that special?
Yes. Oh, of course I do.
I was going to college, and they had that special going on, and I had a bunch of work to do, and the Burger King was just across from the library, and I kid you not, I ordered 50 nuggets, went to the library, and I was just there for 2 hours eating nuggets and doing homework.
Now that is a sexy sight.
Because it's only $7.50 for 50 nuggets.
That is so cheap.
It's insane.
So
it wasn't
nice.
even $10.
Here's the real question, though, Weston. Do you lie to me?
Probably.
Well, I mean, everyone's told lies before, but I mean,
Right.
like the way this looks, it's like I lie only when necessary. Even that doesn't sound in line with what I would say for me.
I'm like, what does it mean I draw the line at white lies, right? Does that mean I will lie, but they're white? Like, I'll lie, but they're like meaningless lies.
Because when I think of white lies, I think of the lies that you don't have to tell, but maybe it's a story embellishment, or maybe it's, but like they're useless. They're not really helping anything. And like I guess that's kind of how I take that. I mean, that's the thing though. It depends how you look at it. Because I've embellished stories before, like so.
Right. Well, I think embellishing a story, that's like, like a fisherman's tale, right? That's not really lying. That's just you got excited to tell your story and some of the details got pushed a little bit. That's not even a lie. Yeah. I mean, it can be, but it's more like, right. Oh my gosh, this is what, because I'm thinking like if you're telling a story you're excited about, sometimes the details in your head, like how it feels to you is how you describe it, even if the actual details don't like actually live up to your story.
Sure.
I don't even consider that lying. I just consider that storytelling, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I think definitely I've lied about like, and this is just white lies, right? Lied about like how I feel, for example. If I've got something on my mind that I just don't want to talk about, I'll lie about it. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure. Okay. Okay. And remember, we're talking about you and me here specifically.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I mean. Like, which we don't get into that too much anyway, but I'm trying not to think in generalities. I'm trying to think of like specificities, but I can't think of too much where lately I've lied to you about anything really that we've talked about.
I think if you think about the scope of our entire relationship and the length of it, I would say the most accurate for me would probably be like, yeah, there's been some white lies in the past, I guess.
Right.
But there's nothing in recent years that I can even think of either. And I've never, and I don't think, I would assume you haven't either, unless you're that good of a liar, but I'm
a pretty good liar. I'm good at everything I do. Thank you.
I believe it. I know that. But what was I going to say? I forgot I was going to, I lost my train of thought once you started talking about you.
I know.
Say what?
You were talking about recent years, kind of like,
I guess, I haven't really told, like, I haven't, had any need or want to really lie about anything to you in recent years, so.
Here's an interesting question that may or may not be related to this question at all, but do you consider withholding information to be a lie?
Is omission a lie?
Yeah. Like, you might have more to add to something that would make something clearer, but you withhold that information for one reason or the other. So what you're telling is at least part of the truth, but it's not the whole story. Is that's considered
a really
lie?
Good question. Are you asking for a specific reason?
No, not a specific reason. But okay. I know that in general, I can't think of it exactly off the top of my head, but I know in general, I often do that where it's like, I've got something on my mind that I could add to my answer or my story or whatever, but I don't feel like adding it or whatever. So I just omit parts of my life. If I'm having like a rough day or a rough week or something and you check in on me, this is just an example. I can't think of a specific one, but let's just say you check in like, hey, how you been doing? And I'm thinking to myself, maybe, oh, actually I've had this like really terrible interaction with somebody and I felt like terrible or whatever, but I don't feel like talking about it. So I'll just say, I'm doing okay. It's been kind of a rough day. So, like, I'd say that much, but I'm not really explaining. Is that lying or is that just not lying? You know what I mean?
No, I think that's just you not wanting to go into something.
Right.
That's what I think. I think there's situations where omission can definitely be considered a lie, at least to me. But if it's like about how you feel about things, nah. And this is about relationships, so that's kind of usually how it would be about how you're feeling. I don't think that's a lie. I just think maybe when you're ready, you will talk about it. Because there's been other times where I've checked in or you've checked in, and we have had discussions. So,
right,
and at those times you or I, depending on who it was, were in the mood to discuss it, right? So, I don't think that's a lie. So I guess really out of these 4 questions, I guess if we're being completely honest, I guess it's like, I mean, I've told white lies before, so I guess white lies, I guess?
To be safe, that's what I'm leaning towards. I can't think of anything specific. It's just kind of like these kind of grand, like, generalizations about how honest are we with other people, but then more importantly, us. I can't think of anything specific I've lied about, but, like, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I would draw the line at white lies.
I guess let's just do that. We don't make a habit out of it, but we have before. I think that's fair, and it's good of us in our relationship to be honest about it.
Yeah, I think more importantly, actually, on top of that, if it concerned you, for example, if I had information that could affect you in some way, I wouldn't lie about that.
Right. Sure,
if that makes
of course,
sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only white lies I'd ever like make would be more like me centric.
Yes, actually, I mean, honestly, same. Yeah.
That's all. That's how I'm rationalizing that. So I'd draw the line at white lies, but I would never like lie to hurt you in some way.
And not to run this too deep, but
I feel like we're really going deep on this one.
Well, I like it. It's Valentine's Day. I think not to run it too deep. By the way, I did pick that answer. If you want to go to the next one, but I will say that I think that would still raise concern if I didn't have the context of our relationship. So, for example, there's other times in which we are very, we do have discussions about how I feel about things that, just like not going into any details, but you and I have had talks in recent years that were very deep talks about how we felt about stuff. We've
opened up with our insecurities a little bit. And we don't have to talk about them, but we've done that.
No, but Weston is, he's insecure about his beard. Losing his beard, but I didn't mean to. No, I'm just kidding. He's not insecure about that.
Shaved it down quite a bit more than it used to be. That's true.
Looks good. I saw the picture.
Thank you.
But anyway, yeah. So, but if we never had those conversations at all, then I think even the white lies to me, or not the white lies, but you saying sometimes it's about me omitting kind of parts of how I feel about things, I think that would raise more concern in the relationship in general. It's like, so you don't trust me enough to share those feelings with me at any capacity? You know what I mean? That's not a concern for us, but I'm just saying, I think if you really want to run it deeper, I think that would end up being something that I would be thinking about a little bit. Like, okay, so what is it about me that he's not willing to share about himself to me? Right. But it's not always like that, but
right. And I was about to say, on the one hand, I agree with you. I feel like I'd be the same way. Like, why do you not trust me enough that you can't be 100% honest with me 100% of the time? If it were me in an actual romantic relationship with my partner, I would be concerned with that. But at the same time, if you really step back and think about it rationally, it's like sometimes it's not about you. It's about the other person. It's not so much that there's something wrong with you, that they can't trust you. It's just the other person might be dealing with their own past or trauma, or again, you kind of touched on it earlier. Maybe it's just not their time yet. They're not ready there yet. And so confronting that with what's wrong with me that you won't be open and honest is kind of selfish in the sense that you're making it about you now, and when the reality is they're fighting with whatever.
Which is where I do know what you mean, which is exactly where I think the big C word comes into play, the communication word. Not communicating all of your feelings. I'm not saying that. Maybe that's not the right time or place. But communication in the fact of we should have communication well enough to know that I know that you're dealing with a trauma or you're dealing with something. You know what I mean? So then that makes me go back to me and realize, okay, this isn't about me. This is about them. It's okay. It's my job just to be here and be ready when they're ready to talk about stuff, Right. So it's a whole everything kind of in a relationship really kind of goes
Relationships
together.
are tricky. Yeah.
They are so tricky, but I love talking about them. All right, question 4. We got deep there. I like this. This is good.
We did. We spent a lot of time on that one. That one, for some reason, struck a chord.
For some reason. Okay. Number 4, between you and I. So what's the worst thing we've ever done? Okay, what's the worst thing you've ever done to your partner? We have to define what cheated would mean in a friendship, but I cheated.
That's a good point.
I forgot about his or her birthday. I ate his or her food, or I admitted that I only like to do things that interest me. We have a lot of, I can say this for both of us, we have a lot of common interests. I don't think that's going to be a choice for either one of us.
I've never eaten anybody's food that wasn't handed to me, basically. So that's not a thing for me. And
I'm not a fan of the family style eating anyway. I eat my own food and I'm fine with it.
yeah,
So
I don't actually
I
like
guess that's
sharing
out.
food and drink. There's something about like if you've bit off something, I'm not gonna eat off that. Like that's
Yeah, I
weird
get it.
to me. If you haven't eaten, like if I like, I don't know, if you had like fries, I wouldn't steal your fries. Like
Now, tell me
My
this because
fries
I
are
really
mine.
I don't recall this. I know I've done it with other friends, but I don't think I've done this with you, and maybe it's because you get a little germy with it. I can't remember. The drinks. I've drank after a lot of my friends before. Like, hey, try this. Haven't you
Right.
always been kind of like, you kind of stay out of that, right? Or am I making that up?
I'm not a germaphobe, but there is something about sharing drinks that just fundamentally bothers me. I don't know. I
Okay.
think part of it is like maybe the
thought
idea
so.
that we're swapping spit, like backwash, or like if you're sharing a straw or something. There's something about that, about sharing a mouth space on a beverage. Even with in the past, even with my romantic interests, that has been an issue with me. Either I refuse to do it, or it's a tremendous struggle for me to get over it, to share a drink with even a romantic interest, which sounds bizarre to a lot of people, and I get that. But it's just something fundamental about sharing drinks really bothers me. There have been
Right.
exceptions, and I've been able to get over it before, but like in general, I don't like it. But it's not the germs. Like I'm like stupid
just fundamental.
healthy.
I get
I'm
it,
not
yeah.
worried about getting sick. It's not the germs. There's something else. It's like a phobia, right? Where phobias are what's the word for like they're not sensible? I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but it's like a phobia, right? Where you're afraid of something, but you can't explain why. It's like that, but it's not. I'm not scared. I just don't like it.
Well, that's fair. Well, I guess that would break a lot of ground then if you were in a relationship with somebody and it was like you could do it. Like that means that would mean a lot, like
Yeah.
to you or to
Yeah, no,
them
that's
for that matter.
That's
'cause I know you.
significant. If I'm in a romantic relationship with somebody and they're like, they're drinking their drink or whatever, and maybe it's a fancy drink, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you should try this," and they hand me their drink. If I drink after them, I am making a very serious effort, a very
Right.
serious effort to
And-
impress them or be friendly or romantic or whatever. It is an effort. There is an effort
And
being made there.
Yeah, if it's a solid relationship too, they will know. Like they'll be like, "Oh my God, you just let me do this," or or you just did this, So
Yeah.
that's cool. So the other two options, because we don't really eat each other's food, is I cheated and I forgot about his or her birthday. And I have a question: do you
Yeah.
know offhand when my birthday is?
I have no idea. If it weren't for Facebook, I don't know anyone's birthday.
Is that true? Can you
That
guess
is
a month?
100% true. I have no idea what month your birthday's on. I'm going to guess April.
No, you're close though.
Am I?
So, well, this is where it gets
honest
awkward.
to God, honest to God, always, if I want to look someone's birthday up, I have to go to Facebook. If you're not my Facebook friend, I have no idea when your birthday is. I have no idea. I can't.
I
I can't keep. I
understand
don't know
that
my
you're
own
saying
parents' birthdays. I
Right,
don't
I
know
know-
anyone's
I-
birthday but mine.
Listen, I get your angle. I know you're saying like you don't know anybody's birthday. Like,
I don't want anyone to feel bad. I just don't. I just can't.
I understand.
Okay.
You're like it's not personal. Like I
Yes.
totally understand. But I appreciate the honesty. I
bet you know mine.
think I know yours.
I bet if you
Um,
don't know the day, I bet you know the month.
Well, the month is July.
Yeah.
And I think it's either the last or second to last day of July.
You're thinking of Justin.
Wait, it's the 1st of July.
Not the first, but it's in the first week.
Second? Dang it, that I don't
No.
know. I just know it was in July.
No, mine's the
Dang it.
6th. I forget when Justin's is exactly, but his is the end of July. I only know that
His is
because
the
we
end of the
both share
month, yeah.
July. I don't know if it's like literally the 30th. Everybody, I have to look up on Facebook to learn this. The only reason I remember Justin's vaguely is because it's the same month. That's it. That's the only reason.
That's fair. I think that's our answer because cheating is kind of hard to apply here. And
I don't know how you cheat on a friendship unless it's kind of like a best friendship type thing, and you're in a weird best friendship like an
exclusive
or
one
something.
single best friend. Yeah.
Right. Which sounds very kind of like, you think middle school or high school, like clique type situation.
Yeah. We always kind of ran in a pack anyway, so it was never really kind of like that. But
like, I feel like once upon a time, I've told you about this. You were getting all buddies with one of my buddies at one point in time, and I felt jealousy over that. We've talked about this ourselves. I don't think we've talked about that on the podcast. This was back when I didn't like you very much. So I was kind of like jealous at one point in time a little bit about that. That situation I would call like a weird friendship cheating. Not that they were, but again, that's very middle school, maybe early high school, just kind of thinking.
Yeah. That friend was kind of hoeing around at friendship terms, though. Yeah, he was hoeing around because
I was friend hoeing, which I mean,
he was friend hoeing.
I mean, that should be totally okay, though. It's like, it should be totally okay to be friends with everybody you want to be friends with. Like, that's okay.
Yeah, but when you're like 13, like it doesn't make sense. Like, no, you're hoeing around. So I think our best answer here is we forgot about each other's birthday. That doesn't mean we're not compatible. It just means we don't know each other's birthdays. That's okay. And now
I'm gonna open up Facebook right now and look your birthday up because I
can just tell you.
I feel bad.
Don't feel bad. Hey, listen, I didn't get yours. I mean, I guessed your month at least, but
you did. You knew that, which was more than I literally on air live guessed April, and I was wrong. So I mean,
I can just tell you if you don't look it up, unless you want
to
look it up.
I have to look it up myself. This is.
Hey, how about
now?
Hey, how about this? How about you look it up? I'm going to ask the waiter for another drink really quick.
All right.
Oh, waiter.
Am I on the right page? I don't even think I'm... I don't see your birthday here. This is good. Details about Alex. Contact basic info? Found it. Basic info, March 30th. There we go.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome. I just found your birthday. I wasn't sure I was on your right page because I went
have
to
two
your
pages.
page.
Yeah.
Oh, you have two pages. That's why I must be on the wrong one. Because the page I'm on, I had a red flag because I went to your overview on your Facebook page and it said no relationship info to show. I'm like, oh no, Steph. Oh no. And I think I'm just on your other page and you haven't updated it or something.
So I actually I'm not in a relationship on any of my profiles, but.
Okay. That was the first
either way
thing
you
I
would have seen
saw.
that.
Okay.
That would have been scary. Well, it's confusing because I have a personal page that has my middle name in it, and then my public one for like fans and stuff is just Alex Duquette. Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, it's like that would be the worst time. Like I tell you that like me and my long-term girlfriend break up on the Valentine's Day episode.
On
of the
the
podcast.
Valentine's Day episode where we're taking a relationship quiz with your friend on a podcast. Like this would be just, I don't know. That would be something.
That would be so sad.
It would be really sad. I think we'd have to stop the podcast right now and talk about it.
I know, or keep it going and talk about it.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding. No, we would probably stop it for that. But all right, let's go on to question 5. What do you say?
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think about couples? How is this about the new relationship compatibility? It has nothing to do with our relationship. You want to still answer it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we're not skipping any of them.
We might as well. I know. How dare I? Okay.
Yeah. It's just a quiz.
What do you think about couples that do everything together? Oh, I see. They sound just like us. So what do you think about friends that do everything together? They sound just like us. They might be insecure. They must be compatible, or they are obviously hiding something. I don't really think
they're always
that
together.
cynically.
Clearly, they're obviously hiding something. They're vampires.
Ooh, that's possible. They're sucking blood.
On the one hand, if you're a couple, again, this is just me answering for couples, not actually us right now. I'm just thinking about couples. I feel like if you're a couple, like, shouldn't you kind of want to do everything together? Not that you have to, because I think it's very okay for people to be independent. But like, I'm looking at that. Obviously, they're hiding something. I'm like, wouldn't it be weirder if they did nothing together? Like, that would be the weird thing, right?
Yeah, I think the answers here are no, I agree. I think because in a relationship, I think it should be one of those things where I'm completely like dependent, or like I'm completely like independent on my own. I can do my thing, but if you're here the entire time, be here. I love it when you're here. That's how I view it.
Right.
Like I can totally do this with you 100%, or if you're gone and it's just me for a while, that's totally fine too. That's how I see it. Like you're like in some weird way completely independent and codependent at the same time. Like it's a weird hybrid. But
like I know if I'm in a romantic relationship with somebody, I know like everything that I do, I want to share that with the person I'm with.
Yes,
which is actually why I want to be in a relationship anyway, is because I want to share like there's so many things that I want to do, but I'm like, I don't want to do that alone.
Yeah.
So like
right.
I want to. So if I'm with someone, everything I do, I want them to be a part of it. Like that's just me.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the sharing aspect is the best part of the relationship. That's like one of the greatest parts, is that you can share a moment, or you can share a thought, or something that happened to you in like an event, anything with that person. It's just it's nothing like doing it, like having that moment with yourself. It's just totally different. So I completely agree. In terms of us, I would say, I guess, like, I wouldn't say they sound just like us, because you and I we've never done everything together. That's just not who we are.
No,
I mean, no friends do, though.
Right, like that's kind of the difference. I think the whole, like, they might be insecure. We don't do things together because we're insecure in ourselves. We do things together because we enjoy the things that we're doing. So I think it's they must be compatible answer.
Yeah, just like they must be compatible. Yeah, I think that's simple enough.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh God, look at this next picture on this paper. Ugh. It's
the picture on this is just this woman staring into our soul over the shoulder of another man who's looking the other way,
and he's probably smiling. Right.
Yeah, he looks. He could be having the best time of his life right now. She does not look like she's having the best time of her life.
Goodness. Okay, so Weston, how would we describe the level of commitment in our relationship? Practically married or actually married? Very committed to an average degree, or casually committed. Now, before you say anything, I do want.
Okay.
The way I see committed is, in our case, how easy could our friendship break down? Okay, that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
I just want to point out that this is called the new relationship compatibility quiz, and there's a answer here that suggests that they're already actually married.
It's fast young love, I guess. I don't know.
We got married in Vegas, but we got to figure out if we're actually compatible.
That's right. That is a good point. Who knows? I don't know where I found this. Is just some random website. I mean, random piece of paper that I printed off at the library. So
how do we describe our level of commitment to one another? I think, like, I don't know, we're friends, but we're like, it's kind of like, what are the tiers of friendship, right? So there's the casually committed. That's like acquaintances. Maybe you know them at work. Committed to an average degree is like, okay, maybe I'm still imagining like a work friend, but a work friend that you would have drinks with.
You'd hang out with sometimes, yeah.
Right. Very committed is like close friends, and then like practically married is the best friends that do everything together. Kind of like what we were talking about before. That's what I'm seeing.
So, and I've personally, I don't know if you could ever say this, maybe even in recent years or past years, I've never had, well, you know what, and when I was young, I did.
Yeah.
Like the best friend. Like the single, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't keep just one single best friend. I just keep a lot of close friends. But have you ever had like the single best friend? Like, would you consider the friend that I took from you back in the day, like at that time, your best friend?
At one point in time, yes. There was someone before that as well. I think actually at different stages of my young life, I've had singular best friends. Yes.
Right. Like the
which is funny because over the years it's been different friends. So like, if that tells, like, I guess I've been friend married and friend divorced many times. I guess, but not when I've gotten older. As I've gotten older, like having the one best friend hasn't been practical. I've had close friends where it's like, well, they're all like equally close. You know, like I love all these friends equally as much. There's no one best friend.
Right. I love these friends equally, but differently, but they're all like the same level of closeness. I totally get that.
It's like a friend polyamory.
Yeah, really. So, I mean, I guess for us, where that would land is very committed.
I think so, because like, while we have our internet mom-dad relationship, that's like for the internet.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, we're not actually together.
We're not actually together. And we talked about it before, where it's like we literally don't do everything together, even barring the whole we're literally very far apart from each other physically to even be able to do so. We've always had our own interests. We do our own thing. I think it'd be the very committed. I think we're above the committed to an average degree, because again, that's like, I don't know, like a casual friend. But I think we literally have a podcast together. So, I mean,
we have a podcast together, and I don't know, just I think the context of our relationship speaks volumes. I mean, you're one of my closest friends. We're very close. Like, I think that explains it. You explained it well when you kind of teared them out. So, yeah, I would say very committed. I think it makes sense. Because there's friends that I have that I would put in between committed to an average degree and very committed too, though. Like, there's some friends that I would consider like a good friend, like good friend. Good friend and close friends are different tiers to me. Like, and I think one thing that puts it apart is that the good friend, like I'll have a long conversation, like maybe I'll talk to them and like they'll come over a lot, or we'll spend time together, but it's not like I wouldn't drive. Like you did this, for example. I wouldn't drive 7 hours to go see him, stay up all night, and just have like a 10-hour conversation about everything, right? That is where I think the super close friends come together. Like this, it doesn't matter what it is. You're just together. It's always a good time. You're laughing, and and then like the good friend is more of a, we hang out quite often. They're not just an acquaintance. So I do think there's like a fifth category that's hidden here. I don't know why I brought that up, I guess, because I still put us in the very committed tier. But I guess I don't know why I brought that up.
You're just like leveling out what your different tiers of friendship are. And that's okay. Yeah. Because in my mind, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I think everyone can have their own kind of version of it. In my mind, close friend and good friend are like the same thing, really. But I think maybe I rank my friendships more casually. Like, I have friends that obviously I haven't, that I obviously don't have a podcast with, or maybe I haven't driven 7 hours for, or whatever, but I'd still consider them good friends. Like, I would still talk about whatever with them, even if it's been a while. Like, I've got friends where it's like, these are the friends I know I can open up to, which for me is a huge deal. If I've got friends who I consider friends, but I wouldn't open up to them about anything like intimate, if that makes sense.
Maybe you just worded it way better than I could have. I think you just worded it better. Like,
no, I think you worded it just fine. You just have kind of like a slightly different differentiation in between the two that I don't really have. And that's okay.
Well, I like the opening up part, though. No, I'm taking what you said, and that's okay. Because, like, honestly, I like what you said with the opening up part.
Yeah.
Because maybe that is a better defining factor. I'm just thinking about this, in real time here. Like, because I've got friends that maybe I would stay up all night and talk to, just like I have with you, but maybe I wouldn't, because it's fun, right? You're having a fun time. It's a good time, but maybe I'm not quite there enough to talk about how I feel about stuff or things personally, or like things personally happening in my life that are kind of important to me. Maybe that would be that other. I think you did describe it more, I think better. And that's okay.
I shouldn't
Man,
be
this,
surprised. I describe everything the best. I mean, clearly.
We know. We know.
I
tell
have
you
to
what,
really
I think,
butter myself up.
hey, you have to. You have to. You got to do it. You know what's funny? I think this bourbon's getting to me already. I think that's what's happening.
Oh man, I
yeah,
still got.
I'm
I still
lightweight
got
these days.
more. Oh, you are. No, I'm just kidding.
No, dude,
you
I
are
am.
a lightweight.
Hey, you know what I used to be capable of? These days, ugh, no, not anymore.
That's actually a good
like
thing,
when you,
though.
Well,
You're
I'm
at the
not-
point where it's like you can have like one or two, and you're like, "That's enough. I'm good.
I'm fine. Yeah,
I'm pouring more
but
wine.
it does have its
My
moments though.
Pinot Noir.
It's like yeah, you got your PP Papoire, whatever it's called. And,
My PP choir. My PP choir.
PP choir, is that just is that a choir of nude men? Is that all that is?
That's our the episode where we had different podcast name ideas. That's one that can be one of them. The PP choir, where it's it's a bunch of choir members in a podcast that talk about dirty things.
Oh, I like the things that happen at choir practice that you don't know about.
Oh
good Lord.
no.
I like it.
Anyway.
Okay. So, very committed. Number 7. Do you think a couple needs to have a lot of things in common to survive? It can help. That's a myth. Sometimes or always. Take it away. Do you think a couple needs to have a lot of things in common to survive?
As a man with only unsuccessful relationships under his belt. Romantic ones, anyway. I think the thing is, from my point of view, like, it can help to have a lot of things in common. I don't like the opposites attract viewpoint. And I get it. There's exemptions to the rule. But I also feel like this is a hard one because you meet people that come together under all kinds of different circumstances. I think you have to have some things in common. And I don't know if that's going to be 50% of the things in common or more or less or whatever. So I'm kind of like on the it can help end of the spectrum because the whole like always feels like if you always have to have a lot of things in common, it feels like you're always looking for someone who's just another one of you. And that's not always what we're actually looking for. Now, granted, I would love another one of me. I mean, I'm just fantastic, but
Right.
I think
I was waiting for more.
I think that's a myth about the having lots of things in common feels like the whole opposites attract thing, which I'm not fully on board with. And then the sometimes feels like uncommitted as a response. I'm kind of like on the it can help end of the answers here. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think I see it a little differently than you here, but
Sure.
but I completely hear what you're saying. And I only feel a little differently because I'm currently living it differently. So
Yeah.
so I mean that's what my other podcast is literally all about. Funny enough.
This is true. This is true. The Two Ps podcast. Alex has a podcast with his significant other, Stephanie. Go listen to it. It's a good podcast. It's fun.
Yeah, and
it's
the
actually
whole-
cozy. It's a cozy podcast, I think.
Wow, that means a lot. Actually, I'm glad I want it to feel that way. Just casual, sit back, just relax, listen to it. Yeah. So that show, for example, it's a couple who goes in reading top 5 lists of random topics to each other, and the whole point is that we're so different from one another that we know there's rarely going to be any crossover. And we learn about each other every single week still, and we've been together for years now, and it's just a lot of fun. Anyway, so if you would have asked me before this relationship, which I do consider to be my most successful and final relationship, I would have probably been more in line with what you said. And
Right.
what you said was not an extreme. Like, you didn't say, yeah, you have to have everything in common, but it can help,
Right.
which I get it. Like, it's like, it could be useful to have that good base, that good foundation. And that's kind of where I want to kind of draw some specifications. So I'll look at my relationship with Steph. So her and I have very few things in common. Like day-to-day things, our interests are different. I mean everything. Our tastes in food are different. Our music tastes are different. We don't like the same shows. We don't like, it's hard to explain. Like, just everything is different. However, the core foundational things that really are important to us, we match. So how we feel about life, how we feel about religious stuff, how we feel about like the bigger picture things, we see eye to eye on. And with that particular foundation in place, it makes everything else just really fun, because we already know like the deep, and even like family stuff, like in the future, having a family, how we feel, all that's the same. So the nice thing about this is that, so I guess for me, with these answers, it's either it can help, that's a myth, sometimes or always. Do you think a couple needs to have a lot of things in common to survive? If you put it under what I just explained, I'm going to put it under that's a myth. Because as long as you have those core foundational interests together, like if you really see eye to eye on the important things in life, like the very important things, then everything else is a journey and an experience in learning about somebody that you love. And learning new things along the way with yourself. In fact, that's one reason why we did start that podcast. I'd never, like, learning how her brain operates and how she thinks and why she likes certain things and introducing me to new things that I never would have been introduced to and vice versa is such a fun journey for us, because those core foundational things are the reason why we fell in love. And then it's just a journey from there, learning about all these new things that we usually wouldn't have an interest in. Does that make sense? So it's a lot of context, but
it does.
That's
make
why I would
sense.
say, if there's core foundational things, then yeah.
Yeah, and because I agree, the things that are important to you, like that's what you're calling core foundations. If it's like, generally speaking, like religion and politics and family, those things. If those are the core important things and those line up, then obviously that's a huge factor. Whereas all the other stuff, and feel free to add detail and nuance to this, but all the other stuff, like your taste in music, that's kind of like extracurricular to the core of your relationship, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I like that. I like that explanation where, and that's like your podcast you do with Stephanie, is you kind of like compare and contrast literally the extracurriculars in your life. Like you had, what was one of the early episodes you guys did on your podcast was like favorite seating arrangements, like chairs.
Yeah, favorite sitting positions. Yeah,
which I love.
One of my favorites.
So that's like one of the ones you did. It's the extracurricular stuff. Like you're never gonna have a relationship based on your favorite seating arrangement.
Because the way I see this too, it's like if you have everything in common with somebody, or even a lot, like a ton of things, I feel like there's a little less excitement because you know how the other person's going to react to something, I feel like, better, and there's just a little less sense of discovery, or maybe it's harder to get to that sense of discovery when you have everything in common. I never would have been opened up to so many different things if it weren't for her, and I'm appreciative of that. So I don't know, maybe that's a myth is an extreme choice, but I think for me that's the closest choice. But then again, I just realized this is about, actually it's not, it can be about us, I guess.
Well, if you think about it, so as friends, we kind of talked about relationships on a romantic level. As friends, do we have a lot in common? We have some things in common.
Well, you know what? It's funny because we have a lot of common ground, but there are, well, honestly, yeah. But I wouldn't say we have everything in common. I mean, I would say we're
definitely not everything.
If it's a percentage, I'm curious what your percentage would be. Think of it in your head for a second. From 0% to 100%, how much of the percentage do we have in common? I would, if I were just to throw it out there, because you and I have talked about just about anything I can think of at one point or another, I would probably, we have common things that we talk about the most. We have our circle of 5 or 6 things that we'll loop around and talk about the most. But, I mean, I'd probably put us in the 60 to 70 range, I'd say.
That's hilarious. That's kind of what I was thinking, 60 to 70.
Because, there's some things that we maybe haven't talked about before that we don't know if we have in common, and there's other things
Right.
that maybe just small things that we would slightly disagree on or whatever. Like even little things like I would never live my life the way you do when it comes to your lack of concern with consuming things, for example, or being like messy or that sort of thing. Like those are things that are different about us.
The coffee that I was drinking this morning I made yesterday.
Yeah, and that's disgusting. So
that's what I thought
I
of.
put
It's
those
still
in that.
the coffee thing.
Yeah, it's the coffee thing's such a weird ass thing. But
I came down this morning. I started a pot of coffee that I hadn't finished from yesterday, and instead of making more, I just heated it up in the microwave and drank it.
I mean, at least you heated it up.
I
Sometimes
heated
you
it
drink
up.
it
I wanted
cold.
it hot. I do, but it was the morning. I wanted a hot drink, so I still heated it up. Yeah.
I like the idea. In the morning, you need a hot coffee. Then
Yes.
after a long day of work, I need a cold beverage. So here's my coffee from 10 hours ago. God, it's gross. But anyway, things like that. So it's funny that we kind of sat in the same spot. So I guess for us, with this question, do you think a couple needs to have a lot of things in common to survive? For us, should we say like sometimes? What's the best answer for us?
For us,
I don't know.
and I don't even know really what the difference is between it can help and sometimes. Like that feels like very similar
can help
answers.
Yeah,
I
but
kinda
it
wanna
can help
say-
also sounds kind of cynical. It kind of sounds like it can definitely help. Like it, I don't know. Like it's doomed to fail if you don't.
Well,
Or I guess no,
like,
no, not really.
you
Not doomed to fail, but
I know I see where you're coming from with that. It was kind of like how I read totally as sarcastic earlier.
yeah.
But it can help. I feel like sounds to me like it's not necessary to have a lot of things, but it like
yeah,
having a lot of things is helpful, not harmful. Whereas the sometimes makes it sound like do people need to have a lot of things? It's like sometimes you really do need to have a lot of things. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If it were me answering this, I'm still very much leaning towards it can help. If you
can help.
answer it
Okay.
differently, I completely understand because I think, especially with how you described your relationship with Stephanie and how your experience with relationships, even beyond friendship, how they can form and how you can have that relationship be based on learning about each other and having that excitement, that adventure going forward. I completely understand that as an outsider's perspective, and I can appreciate that from an outsider's perspective. But myself, having not accomplished what you have thus far, well done. I'm on the it can help side.
Okay. I think here we're going to split off. I think I'm going to put sometimes. I understand what you're saying, but I think
Yeah.
the way I see it personally with us, it would be sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do get that it can help. Unfortunately, I might need to reprint my paper again. For some reason, when I keep my paper out on the table too long, I don't know why it
gets
does
stuck.
this.
The ink starts to melt.
Is this not happening for you?
No, I will admit the website / paper manufacturer that we're using is riddled with ads. So I'm just gonna assume that the ads are slowing your browser down, and I'm just getting lucky.
That makes sense. Okay, ready for the next one?
Yes,
Our food still isn't showing up. Are we ever going to get our food?
I already ate mine.
Oh my god, it's gone! I just see like a fork. There's like little scraps of food left.
Can you imagine that scenario where only one person's food is brought and they eat it all and your food's still not here, but you also didn't notice your partner had eaten? Can you imagine that scenario?
How is that date actually going? Maybe it's going really well. I can't tell.
It could be.
Like with just that context alone, I don't know if you could tell if that's a good date or not, because that implies that one person was like the person who wasn't eating was so fixated on the person who was eating that maybe that's a good
Right.
thing for them. Like they're so into it, they didn't even know they weren't eating. But then the other person finished their food completely. Like, are they at all interested?
without checking in on where your food is, asking you how you're doing, like literally no regard for your situation, your food situation. Like that's kind of like it's going really well for one person,
So,
but not so much for the other.
quick etiquette question. I'm just curious. You're on a date. We'll make it a date. You're on a date.
Okay.
Not with me. So pretend you're not in a relationship with Dad Ket for a second.
Okay.
You're in a relationship with somebody else. You're on a date,
Got it.
and you get your food first.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going to go with this. Are you going to wait for them to get their food to start eating, or do you begin eating immediately?
That's a good
There's no
question
right or wrong. I'm
because
just
I've
curious.
never had to actually face that. Luckily, on any of the dates, I've been on, our food has always come at the same time, which I guess maybe has just been fortunate or lucky. Because I've actually been at other meals with like friends or family where that's not necessarily the case, where something happens and they have to remake something or whatever.
Yeah.
And if it's with friends or family, I just start eating. I just start eating when my food's there. Like I'm hungry,
Understood.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Right.
actually, I've been fortunate with a dating situation where that has not happened. I feel like I would do one of two things, especially depending on how well the conversation has been going up to this point. I'm going to either one, patiently wait for their food to come out and keep making conversation, probably drinking whatever I'm drinking, because that's acceptable because we'll both have drinks at that point. Or if it's going really well, like our conversation's going really well, you know how I talked about how it takes a lot of effort for me to share.
Mhm.
I will make that effort to share food and say, hey, your food's not out here yet. You want to try what I got? Especially if we got different things.
Yeah.
Then we'll do something like that if it's going well. Because I have done that before where I made the effort and I've shared food, but we both got our food at the same time. So it wasn't like a whole saving the food situation scenario. But I feel like
that's a
my
good
food
take. I
came
like
out
that.
first and the other person's waiting, it depends on how well the conversation's going. Either I'm going to be waiting patiently for their stuff to come out, or I'm going to split my food with them as we wait.
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Final question.
How would you take it? Are you going to not answer? How would you do it?
I know. No, I would immediately eat and just not, no regard for the person. Actually, I think, I don't know. I haven't thought about it until Steph. Actually, not to bring her up again, but for her and
go ahead.
I,
It's Valentine's
she's
Day.
It is Valentine's Day. She's the other one.
The other one. That's not me.
The other one that's not you. Yeah.
Stephanie,
But-
if you're listening, you are competing with me, just so that you're just so that you're aware. No.
She knows. Do you listen to 2Ps? Anytime on 2Ps, when we talk up, I bring up Profoundish. She's like, "You're cheating on me."
Every time you bring up Profoundish on the 2Ps podcast, I cringe just a little bit. Like, Stephanie, don't hate me. I swear.
It's like we could all be friends here.
We can all be friends.
No, I never really thought about it until her, but she will literally get her food and she will wait. Say somebody's food was messed up and they have to get it remade and it's going to be 15 minutes. She will sit there. She's such a sweet Southern girl. She'll sit there for 15, 20 minutes and just wait. And just wait and wait and wait. And for me, in that situation, what I would do is it depends. If it were a date, I would do a similar thing you said. But if it were like another
Right.
situation, like with a group, I would probably if I were close to them, I'd probably ask permission. Maybe say like, "Do you mind if I?" I don't know. I sound like an a-hole. I don't know.
No,
Okay,
it's because you're trying to do the right thing, which I actually respect you for. If it were me, it were you and me sitting down, just us having food, like we're having a friends' night out, my food comes, yours doesn't. I'm the a-hole. I just start eating my food.
well, that's different because I would do it with you too. It's like when
Right.
there's no romance on the table. I feel like it's kind of different. Like I wouldn't care if you'd eat. Like let your food get cold. Eat it.
right.
Eat it. So yeah, I totally get that. So I guess it really just depends on the context, is what we learned. All right. So what do you do when you disagree with your partner? Is there a way you resolve conflict? So what do we do when we disagree with each other? How do we resolve
Okay.
conflict? We haven't had that really much conflict, but we'll see. So we fight until someone wins or one of us gives up. we bottle it up until we explode, we talk about it rationally, or we agree on most things, so this really isn't a problem.
I'm thinking kind of like 3 and 4, right? Either we talk it out rationally if we disagree with like I can't even think of something we've disagreed with seriously, like other than like goofy stuff.
Yeah, nothing super serious we've like had these big arguments on. That
all I can think of
of
is if there's something creative that we had like a different viewpoint on, like say we're talking about like YouTube, for example, we would just talk about our different points of view. We'd probably realize we both have valid points, and we'd probably come to an agreement there. That would be like the rational thing. But for the most part, we agree on most things. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Like, if we don't, it would be rational, like a rational conversation, because maybe there's some creative differences we might have, or like some things we might view differently. But between the two, we agree on more things than not. So I think that's the most correct answer, I'd say.
Yeah, I think I would say we agree on most things. I don't think we've come across anything that we've like fervently disagreed on and then had to like deal with that yet.
No, yeah, and I feel like at this point we probably would have if that thing existed. Like I'm sure there's some small things that will, who knows, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we're also, you and I in particular, are very good at like listening and hearing each other, like in our point of views. And really absorbing those. So I think that's one of our strengths as friends, too, is just being able to really hear each other. Not just listen, but hear. So I don't know.
I think even if either one of us mildly disagreed with the other, it's like we end up coming to an agreement anyway, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's never been a point of contention.
Right.
I'm going to say we agree on most things.
I'm going to say it, too.
Oh, my God. Is that the end?
I accidentally clicked through, so I accidentally knew already.
Okay. That was the last one on this quiz. This actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. We had a lot to say.
We did. That's okay. Maybe we can... Well, first of all, let's see what this says. Hold on. So, what does yours say?
Mine says, wow, you are in an extremely compatible relationship. Hold on to this one. The relationship compatibility quiz isn't the only thing you should use to examine your partnership. You can examine where it just links to other stuff. But anyway, it says we're extremely compatible. Hold on to this one.
Okay. I wonder what this means, because did yours say wow at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine says this. You are in a very compatible relationship. Congrats.
Oh, that's so like flippant. Like, wow, yeah,
I know.
Great.
That's exactly right. We only had one answer different, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so. We had the one that was the sometimes and the one that was the. What did I say? I don't even remember. It was the thing that's almost the same as it can help. There it is. That was like the only one we disagreed on, right?
Yeah.
So from my point of view, I really need to hold on to you.
I guess. And from my point of view, like this is fine. Like it's good. So
you know what? This makes sense in a weird way, where like clearly my point of view of our relationship is higher because I'm involved. I'm the best. But from your point of view, you're like, well, he's all right.
He's all right. You know, he's all right. His insecurities bleed through when he talks about himself so much, but he's all right. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
I will say that apparently one of the quizzes they're recommending that we take, but there's no link to it, hilariously, is literally Guy Friendship Quiz. Gonna have to put a pin in that for the future because that's not on our list for tonight.
Yeah, we should put a pin in that now, but we should though go back to that because that'd be fun. Because I wonder if that's like super like Guy, like you know, if you and your bros are
out on the boat fishing. And one guy catches a bigger one than you. Do you kill him?
Do you kill him? Or do you grab a beer and celebrate? That better be what that quiz is. So our time here at dinner has gone a long while. I'm thinking about maybe if it's maybe kind of quick answers. I think we should still maybe go to this last piece of paper here and maybe do the together quiz.
Do you want to do the together one now? Sure.
What do you think, right? Maybe we can do some kind of quick lightning round answers. Let me see. Oops, my page is freezing up though, or my paper.
Maybe it's your internet. Is the weather okay where you're at? I mean, we're in the same restaurant. What are you?
Yeah, we're in
what
the same
am I
restaurant.
talking about? I'm crazy. I'm like
things-
high or something.
Are things okay at the? Actually, how long has it been
On your
at our
end of the
dinner?
table.
How are things on your end of the table? Well, actually, you know what? It has been a good amount of time. Maybe we could put a pin in this and do this one again soon too. What do you think?
Like both quizzes, or I'm saying, let's pick one of these quizzes. Make this a 2-hour special.
Okay. Well, then I think the one we should do then is this one.
Is the
we're already at
togetherness
90
one?
minutes, so yeah, we might as well knock this one out. So
Let's knock this one out. Let's say we kill one more half hour.
look, you know what? We're having a great time. You still look beautiful. Your makeup's starting to kind of come off a little bit, but you still look great.
It's flawless. Anyway, I've still
It's-
got a little bit of wine left. So I've got half a glass of wine in front of me and a little bit left in the bottle. So let's keep going.
Let's do it. Okay. I'm glad we agreed on this. Literally, I said, hey, let's do it. And then I said, hey, let's not. And then you said, no, let's just still do it. All right. So we're going to skip the middle
I
one.
could keep going all night. We can take 17 quizzes. Okay. I don't have
know.
work in the morning.
You don't? Ugh.
I have work in the evening, but I don't have work in the morning.
You know, I was about to say you're lucky, but then again, I used to work a job where I had work in the evening, and I did not like working evenings. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if I'm
avoid
gonna
it
call you
these
lucky.
days if I can. Yeah, right.
yeah. Okay. So this is the quiz that we take together. Here's the little description here. It says, how well do you and your partner work as a team? Find out if your communication skills and morals are on the same level when you answer these questions together. For each question, you both have to
I
agree
hear
on
music.
one
What
answer.
am I hearing? What the frick? Okay, sorry. I think an advertisement's playing. I started hearing music. And I was like, what?
I panicked because I thought, am I doing this somehow?
For a second, I thought it was you. It's not. Okay.
Well, my DAW is set up in such a way to where if I had music playing through it, you would hear it. So, like clear as day. So I'm glad you didn't. But anyway, for each question, you both have to agree on one answer. Feel free to take your time and discuss each question thoroughly as a means to improve communication while you take the quiz. We can definitely knock this out in a half hour or so, I think.
All right.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
I sneezed. I don't know if that came out or not. I sneezed pretty good.
I didn't hear the sneeze, but bless you.
Thank you.
So, good thing you already finished your dinner. You didn't have to get that all up in your dinner. Okay. While taking a walk, you both see a $50 bill fall out of an elderly lady's purse. You pick up the money and decide together to do what with it. That was a strange sentence, but give it back to the woman. It's the right thing to do. Keep the money to pay for your date tonight. One of you wants to keep it, and the other wants to give it back. You are a stalemate when the lady disappears from... Or sorry, you're a stalemate. You're at a stalemate when the lady disappears from sight. Or you go back and forth on what to do and reluctantly end up giving it back.
I feel like we're not going to be reluctant. I think you and I both agree that it needs to go back to this lady.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Absolutely.
we've had similar questions in the past for... I think we've talked about like a similar circumstance before. We're both like pretty stand-up dudes. Like, you know, we saw this money fall as lady's purse. I don't think either one of us are like so broke that we desperately need $50 to go spend on this date or whatever.
Right.
We just give it back.
Yeah, give it back. I don't think that... Yeah, there's no question there. I agree. You
It's
worded
the
it
right
good.
thing to do. Yeah.
Okay, number 2. You are friends with another couple. So we're friends with another couple of friends, and you both know that one of the people in that couple had an affair. Do you tell the spouse that his or her partner had an affair? Oh boy, this is okay. Together we talk to the spouse having the affair, and sorry, this is worded. There's some typos and missing words
You're
here.
friends with another couple. We both know that one of the people in that couple had an affair with the other. Do we tell the other person?
Yeah, I guess we should just talk about that. So, quick answers are, together we talk to the spouse about having an affair and encourage him or her to come forward about it, or neither of us tell them because it's none of our business. We agree one of us closest to the faithful spouse will tell him or her, or one of you insists on telling despite the others pleading to keep it a secret. Well, I'm curious because that could be an option depending on how you look at this. So what would, if you and I were hanging out and then we were friends with a couple, and we knew that they were, let's say that
one of them's having an affair,
one of them's having an affair, doesn't matter which one of them's having an affair, how would our conversation go as friends if we're both close friends with that couple? Like, what would you, assuming you and I would discuss it, how would you go about it with me, you think, like when you talk to me about it? Would you want to talk to them?
Well, that's hard because, so like, if we know this, we come together, we're putting our heads together to talk about this. Like, I come from a, I don't want to say a biased point of view because that sounds weird, but I come from a biased point of view. I've been cheated on. And I know when I'm being cheated on, I want to know about it, right? So my thing is, if I'm talking to you, is that, like, I think that it's important that the person who's being cheated on, right, the person who's not involved in the affair, they need to know. It's a little bit tricky because if you bring it up, you're going to want to have either proof or you're going to have to have some kind of explanation because chances are that person's not going to want to believe it. But I think it's important that they know. I don't think this is a situation where you go to the person who's in the affair and like insist that they come forward themselves. Because from my experience and from my point of view, right, like they're not going to want to do that.
Right, why would
you know
they?
What I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like, why would they? They've apparently gotten away with it this far. And sure, you can try to, like, guilt trip them. But if I'm the friend who's being cheated on, if I'm that person, I'm going to wonder why my friends who apparently knew about this didn't tell me about it. And if they're sitting there trying to get the other person to tell me, the affair person to tell me about it, it's like, well, why were you so adamant on getting them to be a good person when you already know that they're having an affair? You already know they're not a good person, or at least a compromised person, if you're going to be less judgmental about it. Again, I'm coming from a biased point of view. So if it's like maybe the relationship isn't working and the other person found someone who, like, their relationship is working, whatever, like, you can come up with a scenario where maybe you excuse the affair. If you're listening to this podcast, maybe you can come up with a scenario. I'm coming from a biased point of view. So I'm coming at it as they've already chosen to do a horrible thing, right? And to keep up this secret despite the damage that it does, the complete disrespect for the time and the love that the other person's putting into this relationship, that's just not a good person thing to do from my point of view. So if it were you and me talking as friends, like, hey, I know this affair is happening, I'm going to say we need to tell this person who's the victim of this circumstance so that they're prepared for what's going to come. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be kind, but it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do for two. I think it's the right thing to do for two reasons. I mean, the other reason we haven't even really like discussed yet is that it's so like the answer that we're probably going to pick, because you'll hear my opinion too in a second, which was probably going to be, we agree that one of us closest to the faithful spouse will tell him or her. Because that not only, like, that also shows how much you really care and love that person, like whoever's closest to that, to the faithful one. Because think about it, that's like holding something huge over their heads, assuming we have proof, knowing that their significant other is cheating on them, and that, so like we willingly keep a secret that from our close friend that is, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't like that. And the other thing is, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I understand it's not a comfortable thing to do. I completely understand that. But coming from, like, the person who's been the victim of that before, you better believe it wasn't comfortable for me either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but think about it. Would you rather do that or continue to be in a relationship and where multiple years have gone by and you look back and go, oh my God, this whole time has just been, whatever, right? So you don't want to do that to anybody. I also have, as probably most people, but I know for me personally, I have zero tolerance for cheaters. Zero, literally zero. I've never been cheated on, but I know plenty of people who have, and it's just, there's never a reason to do it. And I don't know. I nope, can't do it. So I'm completely in agreement. I think we need to tell the person that we love, the closest friend of ours, the faithful one, we can sit down in a comfortable place, and I know it's not going to be easy, but in the long run, they will be thankful that we did. You know what I mean? They will not.
Yeah.
There won't be any like animosity in the long run.
I just feel like I have the unique experience. Not unique, but not everyone has this experience, and that's good. I'm glad for that. As someone who's been cheated on more than once, like different people, this is a scenario where it's like, I just don't want my time wasted anymore. If you're going to cheat on me, break up with me first. Like, hey, I get it. If this is not working for you, it's not going to be comfortable, and neither one of us is going to like it. Break up with me first, then you can go run off with, whoever, and that's fine. But if you're running off with whoever first, stop wasting my time. You are wasting my time. I don't have a lot left. Like in the dating game, I feel like I don't have a lot left. Like people my age are married with kids, okay? Don't waste any more of my time. Let me move on. You are being incredibly rude by stringing me along, hiding this crap. If you're not interested, move on. It won't feel nice and it will hurt. But please, break up with me first, and then we can move on. Anyway, that's my point of view.
Well, I completely agree with the waste of time, but I do disagree. You've got plenty of time. So that's all I'll say.
Yes, I get that, but also there's like the whole...
I know how it feels, though.
Right. The whole...
Like, I guess
like the whole, like, I'm running out of time thing is more like a sort of like in the grand scale is what I mean. Is that I only have so many years on this earth, and I don't need to be spending a frickin' year with you if halfway through the year you were not committed to me. That's what I mean by that. I only have so much time. Please stop taking it. You know what I mean?
I understand that. Absolutely. Well, I think we both have, different backgrounds with it, but the same mindset. We agree that one of us closest to the faithful spouse will tell him or her.
Yeah.
I'm glad we both see that way. I don't think there should be another answer here. And I haven't been cheated on. And I still agree. I do not think there should be another answer here. I know it's hard, but you got to do it.
It is hard.
If you really care about this person, you need to tell them. You do.
It's like, hey. And even if you don't have proof, it's like, hey, I'm going to let you know, hey, I can't prove it to you, but I know this is happening. Yeah. I hate to put this in the back of your head, but it's happening, and I can't change that. I need you to know. And, that I get it. Some people are worried that might affect the relationship you have with that person, like the person that you're telling the truth to, right? Maybe they will resent you for, bringing that to light or something. And you know what? Maybe they will for a period of time. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. But it's the right thing to do, and I think it's the necessary. In the long run, you were the one that had their back. So
yeah, exactly. Yep, long term, it's the best decision. Okay, that's it. We got it. All right.
That one's a deep one for me.
I completely understood, of course, yeah. All right, number 3. You have extra money in the budget this month, and each of you wants to buy something with it. You don't have enough money to buy both things. What do you do? Decide to save up more money and buy both things when you can afford them. Or you fight over it for days and neither gets what he or she wants. Or he and he here. We forget, we figure out who bought something last and give the other person the chance to get what he or she wants. Or one of you makes a purchase before the other has the chance. I think, if I may, we would both... That last one we wouldn't do. We would talk first. No. I feel like you and I would.
If we were in a situation where for some reason...
Like we're sharing an account
our budgets
or whatever.
are combined. Like say this podcast got super successful and we had a podcast budget and we're like, we want to buy a thing for the podcast.
Yeah. I know... You know what's funny? I mean, I think we'd probably do. It depends on how badly we want these things, because this is extra money. So this is implying that we would just use this extra money to get something that we want. Maybe we don't need. Let's assume these are things we just want, right?
Okay.
My vote would probably be figure out who bought something last and give the other person a chance to get what he or she wants, I guess. Like, I would talk to you about it. If it's something that you wanted more than I wanted, then I would say just go for it, though. Like, it wouldn't even have to be whoever bought it last.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I think the fairest thing is that one where it's like whoever got something last, the other person gets something this time. I think that's like the fairest way. But I think if we hashed it out, I think we'd both agree, like, hey, which thing matters most to the other person?
Yeah.
And we'd just go with that. I could totally see that. I think we're both pretty amiable people in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Also just like side thing, like, there's not a lot of things I want. So like that makes it easier.
Yeah, really.
Where it's like man, like if I had extra money, I would probably end up squirreling it away anyway, like just saving it. So it's like if you want to buy something with extra money, I'd just be like, go ahead.
Right.
But
and that's the thing, like usually if I want something and if it's within my means, I'll just get it. Like if I don't know. I mean, then again, this is a shared account, so it is kind of a different
if this
idea.
is a shared account situation.
But my honest opinion, if we're thinking really specifically about the podcast, though, like particularly the podcast, I would say let's just save this money up right now. That's what I would really say. That first answer, just save up the money.
Yes, because if it was like for the podcast, because we're not in a romantic relationship, so it's not like a shared like married account. So say it's like a business account or something like that where we'd be sharing money. I think if we both had ambitions, like say we wanted to do, like I wanted to do a traveling podcast special where we do the podcast live on air at a certain location, and you're like, well, I want to do a musical podcast episode where we actually have like a play live performance of our podcast. And those are two separate things with two different locations, and they require a certain budget. Well, we both want to do these things. Why not save up till both of them are feasible so that we do both, so that we're not picking one over the other?
Or we could do a traveling musical podcast show.
Or we'd combine them.
We could do both.
Like I feel like we would figure that out where we'd be like,
I think we would.
I mean, we've already been through this where we're trying to figure out like topics and stuff for like the podcast or whatever, and we combine things, or like I don't know. We're very compromising people, I think.
Yeah, we're good at we're good at meeting each other in the middle. So should we do that one? Should we just do save up more money?
I think we'll do that one.
I think if we're talking podcast, that's the one we would do, and just kind of I think that is good. All right.
Because whatever we do, I think ultimately we want to both get what we both want.
Right. Which is to be more successful than the other.
You'll never be more successful than me in my head.
Well, listen, right now, sheer YouTube numbers, at least if you're going by subs, look at you, Mr. 6.5. Are you at 6.5 yet?
I don't know what I'm at, man. I don't look anymore.
Oh, shut up. Yes, you do. Shut the heck up, dude. You do. I don't
what's
look
funny
anymore.
Though is I don't but that's not because I don't care, but because I've just like I'm too busy like to like look at it.
Actually, same, yeah. Yeah, same.
Which I don't mean to, that is not remotely to sound like a brag. I've just got too much going on. But no, I'm at 6.2 as of the time of recording this. But like you said, looking at the numbers, but also like that's the subscriber numbers. You look at like the views and you're crushing it over me. I mean, whatever.
We're
trust me, I know. We're successful in our own rights.
I have to hold on to that because I just look at that sub number and I just, Weston, man. Well, we've always had that friendly competition, but.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Number 4. A big holiday is coming up, and you both want to spend the day with your family. You only have time to see. Oh, geez, I've actually dealt with this in real life. You only have time to see one family that day. How do you decide what to do? You each make plans with your own family and hope the other person gives in. You split up and visit each of your families separately. you visited one family last year, so now you're spending the holiday with the other side. Or evaluate which family you see more often and choose to visit the one on the actual holiday. Oh, visit the other one on the actual holiday. So I almost think for funsies, we should get rid of you split up and visit each of your families, because as friends, we would spend our time with our families, not each other, usually during the holidays. So, So I think we should cut that one out.
If we had to, I think if we had to spend the holidays together, which is what this question is really asking, then we should take that one out of the equation. And like, we have to spend the holidays with each other's families. How would we go about figuring that out? And honestly, like, I see the evaluating which family you see the most often and choosing the other one for the holiday is, I think, the most diplomatic one. And then you visited one family last year, so you spend the holiday with the other. Like, kind of going back and forth is also equally diplomatic. I feel like it'd probably be one of those, right?
I believe that the last one, evaluate which family you see more often and choose to visit the other one on the actual holiday, is a little more diplomatic to me. And I feel like you and I both... This is an example... Okay, let me say it this way. This is an example of something... This is a conversation I would have with Steph, and she would not want to have with me. So, like, with her, like, what I would want to do... Honey, if you're listening to this, I love you, but... if
I love you, but
I love, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, like, what I would want to do is, like, evaluate which family, like, okay, so we see this family a lot. So how about this? Let's figure this out. Let's plan this out. Maybe on this day, we can go see them on the actual holiday, and then on this day, we'll do this family, right? Or whatever. Like, I would want to do that. And it sounds like you would, too.
Like, we'll see your family on Christmas. We'll see my family on either New Year's or, I don't know, 4th of July or something. Like, you'd pick holidays.
Right. Like, we're two reasonable guys here. If you see your family way more often, or like if we see your family way more often, and like for multiple holidays, and we only see my family once, and like this is that particular year that we're talking about in context here, it could be like, well, how about, usually we see them a lot. Why don't we see my family now this time? And then maybe next time we can see your family for this thing instead to make up for it or something, right? I think we'd have that kind of conversation. So especially, my vote is the last one.
The evaluate the family one?
Yeah.
Because, I come from a point of view, too, where my family gatherings are very, 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 very small now. It's pretty much just my parents and like my brother. So I don't have family gatherings. So in my mind, I'm imagining like, well, who's got the bigger family gathering? I don't want to take, like, if it were you and me, and if you had, say, one side of your family, like you got your one parent and your parent-in-law and maybe a sibling and maybe cousins or God knows whatever. If you got like 10 people involved and I've got like 4, was like, well, let's go to the gathering where like more people are actually going. If it were me, that's what I would say. It's like, let's go to the one where that actually involves more family members. It's kind of a bigger deal. And then we'll make time for like my family thing another time. Like we can just have a family dinner at some random time. It doesn't even have to be a holiday. That's where I would come from personally, because we don't have, I don't have big family gatherings anymore. So
yeah. And even though it's a little different, that still falls in line the most with that bottom answer. It's like, okay, let's kind of strategize which one's going to be. Yeah, I don't know. I think you worded it fine. So evaluate which family, right? That one?
Sure, let's do that one.
Let's do it. I agree. We're two reasonable guys here. Be reasonable.
Be reasonable.
All right, number 5. One of you gets a huge promotion to your dream job, but it requires relocating hundreds of miles away and the other person giving up their job. What do you do? Well, this is interesting because if we talk about us, I think in some ways we could have a similar dream job. So, and which in a lot of ways wouldn't really require us to relocate.
And also, well, like, there's that for sure, but there's also like neither one of us are like so attached to our current jobs that we would refuse to leave it.
Yes, exactly. So what's the most easy answer here? Let's see. Disagree on how to handle a situation and end your relationship over it, or you really don't know what you would do. Why is that even there? Agree to live separately and have a long-distance relationship until the other person finds a job in your new place. Agree to relocate. This is too great an opportunity to miss out on, and you want to enjoy it together. Or agree to turn down the promotion because your partner really doesn't want to relocate. There's one that sticks out to me, like, a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think either one of us would be against relocating. In fact, we've both talked about where we are literally right now. We are open to relocating. So
yes, we have talked about that, yeah.
So
That's it.
I think we're both on the agree to relocate. This is too great an opportunity to miss out on.
Because say
we don't care.
Say this was the case. Say you and I were roommates or we were together or whatever it would be. And you did have to go to, I don't know, Des Moines, Iowa. I don't care. It could be anywhere. And you have this great opportunity. I would think I'd go, this is great for him, but also who knows what I could find there. Like, it's a new place, new opportunity for me too. So, yeah, it works out. All right, that's the one. Next.
Let's do that one.
Number 6, one of you maintains a friendship with an ex and makes plans to get together with him or her. How does your partner respond? So I don't know how we're going to answer this one, but to demand you never see or speak to your ex again, or this relationship will end. Tell you to have a great time. Friendships are an important part of life. Discuss any feelings, positive or negative, about the situation. Then trust in you to maintain an appropriate relationship with the ex. We would each react differently in the situation. Don't know why that thing is there. And then ask you not to go because he or she feels insecure about it, but you go anyway.
I do think that we would react differently in this situation. I think that's there because, like, if two people, because you're supposed to answer together, if you just literally cannot come to an agreement, that's like true. Cop out, right? I think that's why that's there. Like, I don't care if someone has a relationship with their ex, which, again, you and I are in a friendship, so it literally doesn't matter to us. But, like, I don't think it matters to someone. It doesn't matter to me if you have a relationship with your ex, as long as you're not going. This goes back to the whole cheating thing. If you have a relationship with your ex, they're your ex, right? You're not seeing them behind my back, then I don't care. If you're seeing them behind my back, please just freaking break up with me. Just end it, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are we doing? We're adults here. If you've got feelings for your ex, go do that. I don't know.
Right. Well, funny enough, this is actually, I might be a little biased on this one.
Okay.
So I don't think Steph would mind me saying this because it's just a friendship, but she actually has an ex in her life that she doesn't really maintain that much of a relationship with them, but like every once in a while, like maybe once or twice a year, they will get a dinner together. And this is an old high school boyfriend. And yeah, I mean, it's just, once again, it's just a quick thing. We're very open and we talk to each other about it, and she lets me know, like when it is, what they're doing. I've never met this guy. I also know the context of that relationship, which of course is not my story to tell, but with knowing that context and also trusting Steph with all of me, I know for a fact that nothing's happening. So,
it's a huge part of that trust factor where
trust is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, if you can trust her, like, hey, we're in this together, right? Then yeah, go meet your ex. If you're still friends, that's fine because I trust you. And that's extremely important. And I think also extremely valuable and should never be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So, like,
absolutely.
out there, whoever's listening to this, like, if someone's trusting you to go out and talk to your ex as friends, don't frickin' break that. That is huge. That's insane.
Yeah,
a lot of people can't handle that.
Right. So there's two here. We got tell you to have a great time. Friendships are an important part of life, or discuss any feelings, positive or negative, about the situation. Then trust in you to maintain an appropriate relationship with an ex. I see both those.
Yeah.
Like I see validity in both of those.
I do, because the discussing the feelings does open up the possibility where, like, if you are uncomfortable with that situation, you have a way of talking about it, but still maintaining trust.
Yeah.
And I like that one. The whole, like, tell them to have a great time. Friendships are an important way of life.
It almost seems like you're shrugging it off, like, or like you're not really thinking about it. Like, okay, whatever, go have fun, that's fine. At least the other one is you're really putting your feelings in there too, and you're communicating your feelings to each other. Like, because that conversation could literally be like if it were me and you, right? Like if for whatever reason, and I said, and you're going to see, you know, the original Dad Cat before me, and
whoever that is,
because that whoever that may be, because that conversation could literally be like, listen, this is hard for me to grasp. Like this would be like the quote unquote negative feelings come, right? Like, this is hard for me to accept or whatever, but I trust you. So I want you to be able to do this and not feel like constrained. And I want you to know that I trust you enough to do this. But I also, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with voicing how you feel about it. As long as you also voice that you're okay with this and you trust them. If you just voice that you're not okay with it, then that's another thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, yeah, it would be a discussion of feelings. So, like, if it were you and me, I don't even know how to turn this into a friendship thing. If it were you and me in a friendship,
and just say, okay,
and you were like picking to hang out with another friend instead of me, like say we both like kind of double booked a situation, right?
Yeah. And
you were picking to go hang out with a friend. It's not that I'm concerned that they're a better friend than I am, that you're picking them over me or something like that, right? It's like a more like discussion, like, hey, we planned this thing. I'm a little hurt that like this didn't work, but I trust that we will do this thing that we planned later or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. That's the closest I can think of. I'm just trying to turn this into a friend thing.
That seems to be the most rational way to go about it, because you're still open enough to express how you feel about it, but also say, like, listen, we're not going to end our friendship over this. It's just, we double booked, we screwed up, we'll get better at this next time, and I trust that you'll do this thing later. So,
although
yeah,
I
guess
do
that's
know
the one.
that if it were me in a friendship situation, I would probably, like, if like say we agreed to do, I don't know, bowling on a Friday night. And then you message me like, hey, I accidentally, like, actually this other friend of mine, I promised we'd play darts or something at this bar. I gotta bail on the bowling thing with you because I'm playing darts. I would probably be the person who's like, have a great time, you know, this is your friend or whatever, that's fine. That's probably how I would actually be. But I probably wouldn't even talk. Like, just to be honest, like, I probably wouldn't even talk about it. I'd be like, that's fine, just go ahead.
Yeah, I think, okay, that's how I would react to you as well. But I do think if we were to dig deeper, I think my thought process would be the other one. It would be, okay, like, I'm not quite sure how this could have happened. Like, I feel like you could have managed your planning better. However, I trust that you're not devaluing my friendship versus this other person's, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I feel like that would be maybe my thought process. Like, my thought process would be, yeah, you know, that's kind of a bummer. I wanted to do this thing with you right now, but I don't think you're like I'm less of a friend to you because of it. I just think you accidentally screwed up your planning.
Right.
But yeah. That's still, what does that mean? What would your answer be, I guess, for this one? Because now you've made it.
Yeah, I did. I made it a little complicated slightly, but I feel like I want to make it the discuss any feelings, positive or negative.
Okay.
That one.
Well, I think we'd both, at least, if nothing else, we'd at least think that. And I think if we were in person, if this weren't a text, I think we would share that. So, okay, discuss.
Especially if it's not a text. It's easier if you're like talking in person, like, hey, you know,
exactly.
and then explain the situation.
That's exactly right. All right. Oh, shoot. What is wrong with my... Why don't you go ahead and read this?
Number 7.
Go ahead.
Which
My thing's
best
screwed up.
describes the way you feel after discussing a difficult issue with your partner? A, your partner never listens to you, and no issues ever get resolved by talking. B, your concerns were heard, respected, and a possible solution was agreed on. C, your partner heard your concerns and agreed to think about how he or she could help you deal with the issue. Or D, your partner tried to listen, but just couldn't understand where you were coming from. This is kind of a very general, very nebulous type thing, which the last thing that I read, we've kind of talked about this a little bit already. Usually you and I, if we have any kind of conversation at all, we can kind of see where the other's coming from. So we don't really have the whole, like, just don't understand. We just don't have that kind of issue.
Right.
After discussing a difficult issue with your... Okay, so a difficult issue...
A difficult issue with your... What does the sentence
your partner.
mean?
So,
Is
like, for us, it'd be like, so we're discussing a difficult issue with one another, our friend, right?
Wait, with one another?
like-
Like, we have an issue with...
Yeah.
Like, I have an issue with you, or you have an issue with me? Is that what that's asking?
that's
Or
just
do you
it.
just have
It's
an
very-
issue that you're discussing?
I think it's just an issue. It's being very general.
It is general.
Discussing a difficult issue with your partner, in this case, friend. So we're discussing a difficult issue. I think the whole your partner never listens to you. I think we always listen to each other. Like, we've never discussed an issue with one another where we just, like, shut down.
Yeah,
I don't
we've
think
always-
that's ever
yeah.
happened. So we've got your concerns were heard, respected, and a possible solution was agreed on, or your partner heard your concerns and agreed to think about how he or she could help you deal with the issue. I think we're kind of between those, which are very similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. It's so I've talked to a lot of people in general, and you know how sometimes you can talk to somebody and you can just tell, like, they're not hearing you, like they're listening, but they just don't hear you, right? Like, I feel like that's not an issue that we have. I think depending on the issue, I think sometimes we're there to also offer solutions, and other times we're there just to listen. You and I have both done both. Because I look at relationships a lot. I think you know this about me. Like, I really like to view them, and I think about them in a bigger picture. I do this with all of my friends, you included. I do it with Steph, and I've noticed that you have done both with me. Like, if I come to you with like a thing, like an issue or something that's like on my mind or whatever that we've talked about, a lot of the times you'll listen, you'll respond with a way to help, but then there's been other times where you've just kind of listened when it was a more appropriate time to listen and not give a solution. Because sometimes the other person's not looking for help. They're just looking to talk and have someone listen, right? So you've done both, and I do my best to do both as well. So that does make it kind of hard to know which one out of those two to pick.
I didn't even realize I've done both.
Yeah, you do both.
Because I was going to say, oh, yeah, I'm always trying to offer a solution, but I don't know, maybe that's not true.
That you're like 75-80% solution, 20% I need to listen to this instead. So you're more aware of that than you may realize. So, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing, because sometimes people don't want a solution. So depending on the person. But yeah, I mean, I think, and I respect that. Not everyone can have that view of it. I don't know which. I mean, I think either answer would be okay, I guess.
Yeah, that one's a close one. So the way, like, I don't know. I feel like we are still solution seekers.
Yeah.
In general. I think either one of us, if we come to each other with a concern, a problem, an insecurity. I think ultimately, we are both solution seekers. So I think
I agree.
we both give solutions on average in general.
Mm-hmm. And we do that for each other. Like if we're talking about us in particular, like no matter what the topic may be, we'll both kind of give our 2 cents. You know, and I always think that it comes from a place, like it comes from a real place. Like it's not just like throwing words at you. It's like, yeah, this is something that you can take it or not. That's fine. But I mean it when I say it. So
yeah,
I would say that one. Yeah, your partner heard your concerns and agreed to think about how he or she can help you deal with the issue.
Yeah, your concerns were heard, respected, and a possible solution was agreed on. I think I'm going to go with that one.
Yep. The heard and respected is the most important part. If it's heard and respected, then I'm totally willing to listen to that solution too if I feel heard. So
yeah.
Even if that solution may not be right, like just the fact that you've heard me, then I'm still all ears with everything else you have to say.
It's like, I've heard everything. I respect everything. This is how I would tackle that. You can disagree with it, but this is what I think the solution to it is. Yep. And there you go.
And there you go.
And there you go. I think that's how we are. Like, I think you've given me advice before. I've given you advice before. Whether, varying degrees of severity, but like in general, I think it's kind of like I'm hearing what you're saying, but I also want to help. So here's what I think. If I were in your shoes, I would do.
And this is one of the biggest problems with male and female relationships, at least from my experience and hearing it from others as well too, actually. And I guess, this could honestly be a thing with anyone, but I just really feel like there's this fundamental difference between how men and women talk to each other. I feel that way, but and communicate with each other. It's, a lot of the times she'll come into the relationship and she's just trying to air some concerns, or maybe she's just having a rough day and she just wants to tell you what's wrong. That here comes the guy and he's like, here's what you need to do to fix it. Right?
Yeah.
His angle is, at least most times, probably true, like and pure. Like it's, I want to help you. I'm doing this to help you, right? It's not, I'm trying to, there's not some, like, I think, evil angle or a twist to it. It's just, here's what you need to do to fix it, right? I care about you. I want you to fix it. But she's taken that as, I don't need you to help me fix anything. I just want you to know that you hear me. Or I just want to know that you hear me. So that I know that's a common issue. But I feel like you and me, a couple of guys, I got a solution. You got a solution. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there because we have that same sort of mentality.
There's this video,
I guess, mentality.
There's this mentality, exactly, or as some people call it. Of course, this is kind of a different definition too, but the mansplaining thing. I thought of that too
it's a
when
little
you said
different
that.
than that.
But there's this video that I need to send to you, and it was like men before gay was invented. That's what it said at the top. and it was like two guys sitting on the couch, like, and they're just like, they're basically like complaining about like how their relationships weren't going well and how the dating scene's really hard. It's like, I just don't really, this women, it's just tough. Like, I try to explain when I have an issue with her or she has an issue and I try to help her with the problem and she doesn't want to hear about it or anything. And then they get really upset. They talk about their issues they've had with dating women. And then one of the guys is like, God, man, if I could, I mean, with you, it's so easy. We talk logically. Like, we have a lot of conversations. We offer solutions to each other. Man, if we could just get married or just be together, it'd be so easy, like, God. And then they keep going on, and it's like, you want to go to the bar and try to meet some chicks? Yeah, let's go. It was just, I have to send it to you because, like, it's so funny. But yeah, two dudes before gay was invented.
Before gay was invented. Clearly,
it was so funny.
Another man just isn't a solution. So obviously,
right? Obviously, you have to keep, yeah. All right, I think this is the final question. I think these are all 8 questions. I could be wrong, but we'll find out.
I have no idea.
Which would work for our time frame here. So, your partner's best friend hits on you. Your partner's best friend hits on you. Do you tell your partner my thing. Can you read it? My screen just did it again.
Your partner's best friend hits on you. Do you tell your partner or spare his or her feelings and keep it a secret?
Oh.
So this is kind of interesting because obviously we're friends, so this is a different point of view. But let me just read the answers as they are. A, one of us would tell, but the other would keep it a secret if roles were reversed. B, we would both tell our partner so he or she could deal with it in the way that he sees fit. I'll just start saying he because it does. C, neither of us sees this as a real problem. People flirt all the time. Or D, we would both keep it a secret so our partner doesn't get hurt. So this is weird. How do you turn this into a friendship question? So like, if one of my friends were hitting on you, right?
Yeah.
Which in this case, I know you're heterosexual, so it'd be one of my female friends is hitting on you. Basically, would I tell you about it? Is like the thing. Or vice versa.
Yeah.
If one of your friends was hitting on me, would you tell me about it? That's kind of like what's really happening here.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Your partner's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
No, that'd be like if one of my friends were hitting on
Hit
you.
on me. Yeah, exactly.
Or did you say that? I might
That's
have
what I
misheard
said.
you. I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
no, that's what I said. Let it sink in. It's a little difficult when you're trying to turn it into we're friends. So like because I'm your friend. So it's like one of your other friends is hitting on me, your friend. It's a little convoluted when you're trying to wrap your head around it.
Well, one of us would tell, but the other would keep it a secret.
But like it's also different because if we were partners, right? Like so if we were dating, it'd be different if like my friend is hitting on you, but we're seeing each other. That would be a very different conversation than you and I are just buddies. Hey, Alex, my other buddy, she's into you. Again, assuming you're single, you're happily seeing Steph, but like assuming you're single.
Yeah, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, it's a very different situation.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how we could rephrase this to make sense for us.
Like, I just feel like, yeah, if we were buddies, and we are, and I had, I don't know, say I have a friend and her name's Stacy. Why not? And I'd be like, hey, Alex, Stacy's into you. Like, why would I keep that a secret, right?
Yeah, because you and I don't have, like, a romantic thing keeping that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what if it's you and I, and then... Yeah, see, it's just weird. Yeah, we'd, like, have to... Okay, you and I have a podcast together.
Okay.
And then... I guess it would be...
Stacy really wants to have a podcast with you, Alex, but if you do that, you have to end the Profoundish podcast.
Well, then I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I mean, that's it. There's our answer. I don't know. We might have to answer this one out of, like, just... Because that's kind of weird to grasp.
It's weird to grasp this from a friend point of view. Yeah.
So what would you do in this one? Just this last question. It's all right. What would you do in a relationship here? Like, what's your angle here?
Yeah, if we were seeing each other and I knew one of my friends was into you, but we're together, right? That's interesting. I feel like I wouldn't talk about it because obviously that goes against my own interest. Like, that's their problem. Like, I don't know that you're into them. Obviously, I'm into you. So, like, why would I introduce a love triangle? Right?
That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, if it's harmless and nothing's like if I'm not flirting back, it should be fine.
Right. And if anything, if I need to talk to anybody, it's that friend of mine who's trying to flirt with my boo. If it's you,
that's
right?
exactly what I was just thinking.
But if it's, my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Like, if I'm with somebody, my friend who's into that person, I'd be like, hey, yo, back off. That's mine. Like, we're doing a thing right now.
Right. That's my piece of booty.
Right. If it were a romantic situation, I think that's how I would approach it. maybe.
Yeah, the only way I'd approach it differently than that is if it were you and you were flirting back. If there was flirting on both sides, that's different. But if they're just flirting with you, because it's very possible, this doesn't explain it, but it's very possible that, like, there's just some oblivion on your side or on my side, depending on the situation. It's like,
Yeah, maybe.
that's possible. Sometimes people don't pick up on that stuff.
That's possible. I know, like, if it were me, and again, I have my own bias here. So if it were me, so, like, say you and I were in a romantic relationship, and I have a friend, and they're flirting with you, and you're flirting back. Me, in my history, I'm just going to assume, yeah, no, you guys are going to end up cheating on me eventually. I'm just going to end it. I'm just going to end it now. Like, clearly, this isn't working because you're off flirting with some other person. But then again, that's because I am jaded with my personal experience and my history. So that's the way I would see it.
And I understand that. I feel like even for those who maybe haven't had that particular experience, I still feel like two-way flirting is intentional. I don't believe in the whole people flirt all the time. Yeah, people flirt all the time when they're wanting to get something out of it. So at least that's how I see it. People will disagree. I think there's always intentions when people flirt. I don't think there's such thing as truly harmless flirting. Somebody's hurt or affected in the end, in my opinion. But
I do think that there is a little leeway between joke flirting, in the sense that, and again, this is a very
it's
much
a fine
like,
line,
you know, situation, like fine line, situational type situation, where you know, like the person you're with just kind of like jokes back, right? Like you and I have definitely both been in situations with friends in our friend group where we like say things to each other that would be like you would say or is like flirting, but we're just like shooting the crap, right? You know what I mean? Like we've said we've said some goofy stuff to each other playing video games or whatever, where it sounds flirtational or
okay, but wait a second.
Opposite end of the spectrum where it's like hate, like straight up hateful, and anything in between. But
yes, but I will say this, not to make this into a whole nother tangent here, but
yeah,
the bulk of our group, I say the bulk because there's some exceptions, but we're heterosexual. So I do feel like like we were all under the understanding that it was okay, well, we're interested in women anyway. I think it is different when it's, once again, a romantic relationship, right? Like, it just is. It's like, okay, well, yeah, obviously, if you and I or anybody, right, another two friends in our group who were both straight were making jokes, like, okay, well, yeah, they're both straight, so they're clearly just kind of poking fun, like at each other and just having fun. So I do feel like that does make a little bit of a difference still. If it were a
situation where like you and I were in a relationship and we're both gay and you're flirting with another girl, I wouldn't take that nearly as seriously if you were flirting with another guy, assuming we were in a gay relationship.
Right.
So that changes that kind of topic.
This could really spiral down.
It does.
I'm going to read these again. We would both keep it a secret so our partner... I think your order's different than mine because my page reloaded.
Yes, our orders are different. Weirdly enough, they present them in a different order.
Yeah. We would both keep it a secret so our partner doesn't get hurt. One of us would tell, but the other would keep it a secret if roles were reversed. We would both tell our partner so he or she can deal with it in the way that he or she sees fit. Neither of us sees a real problem. I don't know. None of these are great, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I feel like if it were me, I would probably say something. So the question becomes, if it were you, would you say something?
I mean, I would, though. I would say something.
Then I think ultimately our answer falls in the answer that says we would both tell our partner so he or she can deal with it in the way that she sees fit. So in our case, as friends, whatever the heck that would mean, whatever encroachment that we're seeing happen, we would tell the other, and then they would just deal with it as they see fit.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's the one.
I think that's the way to. Again, I don't know what the 1-to-1 friendship court like example would be there. If it's some sort of friendship flirting, I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
But I think we would just bring it up. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm
It kind of goes back in line
this.
with the rest of our answers too. Like we talk about it. We'll bring it up. We'll discuss it. That's just going to be better if we do that. So
I think so.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's see if that's the. I think it's the. Yeah, this
It
is
was. It was the last one. Your quiz result. You are a dream team.
Oh boy.
You and your partner have great communication skills and are able to get through most difficult situations because of it. You either have the exact same set of morals and values or respect each other enough to come to a consensus on important issues. You are the kind of couple who can set the example for others and serve as inspiration for what a relationship should look like.
Wow.
Now that you've taken a relationship quiz together, blah, 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 they recommend some other quizzes.
Well, that's a
But
pretty
yeah.
bold claim at the end there. Just set an example for others.
We are
You
a dream
and me?
team. We set the example for what friends should be.
I like that. I'm proud of that. I mean, not all friends can start. I'm going to say the word successful, and I mean successful in a commitment way. Not all friends can start a successful podcast where you keep it running and going and have things to talk about. Yeah, I think we could be the gold standard. You may be cocky about you, but I'm going to be cocky
I was about to
us.
say, you know what? I'm okay with it because I am the gold standard. So, of course, I'd be one half of the full gold standard package, of course.
Here I am. I'm going like, we are the gold standard. And you were like, I already am. But we both can be too a little bit. Oh, goodness.
Obviously.
Just two walks of life. Well, that's fun. I just realized, though, it's late and the restaurant, Goblet of Desire, is closing down. They're starting to sweep the floors. And I never got
Honestly,
my food.
You know what? I'm not entirely sure you ordered. Like, I ordered. I know I ordered. Did you order?
No, I think I just drank 3 glasses of bourbon and never ate anything.
I'll tell you what. We're going to go through Burger King. They're open late. We're going to get you some fried mushrooms.
Man.
Just
if only
as
we
many
could go to
as
the
you could
feed bag.
possibly eat. You know
I
what?
miss-
Maybe in our dreamscape, in the astral plane, we're going to project ourselves into the feed bag. We're going to do that.
Thank you. This is romance. This is true romance. You would do that for me.
Take notes, Stephanie. Bring Alex on the astral plane to go eat at the feed bag together. These are notes. You take these notes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
No,
Oh,
I can't.
man.
I can't.
You kid. But this was a really nice time. I think I'm going to need you to drive home, though. This whiskey's getting to me.
Don't worry. I've called a cab.
He's called a cab.
I've called a cab. I've had my wine. You've had your whiskey. Neither of us can drive, and we're going to be responsible. I've got a cab, maybe an Uber. I don't know, or a Lyft driver. Pick your poison.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go home. We're going to skivvy down into our undies, hop on the couch, and watch some reruns of Cheers.
What were we watching the last time I was down there? We were watching Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Okay. Well, last time we were both pretty tipsy, and after we were doing a podcast, and then
This was
after
from
we were
a
done-
hasty podcast. You can go listen to the last
check it
one
out.
that I did with Alex. We were we were drinking, me a little more than Alex, and then we watched Whose Line Is It Anyway? And then I passed out.
Just the funny part of that was that like we got done. It's like, oh boy, okay, this beer, because we got these like taller.
Yeah,
things
it
of
was like
beer.
hazy beers. They were way stronger than they
Yeah.
felt like they should have been.
Yeah, they were like 9 or 10% beers. I mean, they were strong. And he went through a few of them. I only went through 1 or 2. I can't remember what the number was. But point is that we were both feeling pretty silly. And as soon as we got done, we went out to the kitchen and we were just kind of talking for a second. And then Weston, who never does this, by the way, never does this. I don't even know if I remember telling you this part, but you're like, God, I'm hungry. Like I want to eat something. And like, you never say that. You never just go, I'm hungry. And like, well, I got some snacks or whatever. And he was like, okay, what do you, and then like we pulled out, like I had like Cheez-Its, I think is what it was.
Cheez-Its, yeah.
And then we poured this giant thing, but it was just funny hearing you say that. Like, I never see you go like, I'm really hungry, because you're just not hungry like that. Like,
after I've had a few drinks, I get really hungry. So that's what was happening. Is that like, I had a few drinks, I'm feeling like I need to eat something.
So I had this family-sized thing of like Cheez-Its. We poured it into a bowl. We both sat on the couch, tipsy, and just watched Who's Line. It was kind of romantic.
Kinda. And then I was eating them, and I was kind of just passing out. And eventually we parted ways. You went to your room to sleep. Yeah. I was just sleeping on the couch, so I just stayed there and passed out.
Fun times. That was so much fun. Hey, Weston, speaking of you, where can people find you on the internet?
I've got a website called westonhasty.com. That's my landing page for all the things that I do. In particular, the thing that I spend the most time on is my gaming YouTube channel called Magic Man Mo. You can follow that. Give it a subscribe at Magic Man Mo on YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter at Weston Hasty. I write poetry on hastylymadedecision.com.
His poetry is really good. His tweets are, I think the quality of his tweets vary, but he is very active on Twitter. So
hit me up on Twitter. Check him out. Come say hi. I will either say hi back or send you a GIF of some kind that may or may not be related to what you send me. I mean, do it.
It's a gamble. We'll just have to find out.
I respond to all the tweets. I do it. Say anything, I'll do it.
I would tell people to follow me on Twitter, but really I don't use it unless I'm promoting something. But if you do use Twitter and you want to see when I'm going live or making things, you can follow me there at AP Duquette. Really anywhere. Instagram as well, AP Duquette, Duquette. It's a weird last name. I'm not fortunate to have an easy last name like Weston. But that being said, you can find everything I do at alexduquette.net. I do music. I'm a musician. I recently put out an album called Songs from Sangamon Street. It's streaming everywhere and also available to purchase physically. You can see all of that at alexduquette.net. Listen to it, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere else too. And
you gotta listen. He did a bunch of hard work to make that happen. Do it.
A bunch of hard work. And as the time of recording this, Weston still hasn't even heard it yet. But it's because it's not out as we record this.
That's because as of recording this, I can't. Okay.
Yeah, I made it sound like you were like a jerk.
Yeah, no, by the time you're hearing this podcast, I have absolutely listened to it.
And what do you think about it?
In fact, if I can buy it, I have purchased it. So yeah, screw you, Alex. Yeah.
So Weston, what do you think about it?
Calling me out on the podcast, it's phenomenal. It's my favorite song is track number 4. Yeah. Listen to it.
You're actually probably really going to like that one. I've thought about you with that song.
You're darn right I will, and I'm going to stand by that forever now.
All right. Good. Track 4. Don't forget it.
I won't.
So, what about Profoundish? Where can people find us there? This is the longest, follow us section ever.
If they've made it 2 hours into our show so far, they're in for the long haul, okay?
Yeah, they are.
So, anyway, if you want to listen to Profoundish, obviously you already are. We're available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, any of those things. Give us a follow, a subscribe, a like, whatever it is you can do. Give us a rating, a like, 5 stars. Answer our polls or questions as are appropriate. Give us a follow over on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at Profoundish Pod. And,
but for now,
there you go.
But for now, I think our cab is here, so I think we need to get going. I'll leave the tip. Thank you for a lovely Valentine's dinner. It was really nice, and it felt good to check in on our relationship.
Yeah, until next year when we can completely disagree on everything we've discussed today.
Yes, next year, the breakup episode.
Maybe.
Who
Tune
knows?
in.
We have to find out.
That's 52
But we're gonna go
weeks
now.
from now. We'll hate each other by then. Who knows?
It's true. Okay, we're gonna go.
Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Or no, thanks for listening. Like with your ears, like a
With your
real
ear
couple
holes.
would. Listen. Don't talk. Listen. Thank you for
Listen.
listening.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll see you guys. Hear you guys. We won't do
We're
anything.
struggling to
You'll-
say goodbye. So bad.
I don't want to say goodbye. Okay.
Goodbyes are hard.
You will hear us next week on Profoundish. Thank you all for doing that. Bye.
Bye.